Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 13. Spread picks, previews. We're going to get down to all of it. Maybe even some more free money at the end of the show. Came through big time last week. We'll get to that in a second. I do want to let everyone know to smash the like button. That's step one. If you want to get into a draw for $20 DK. Step two, leave your Draftkings handle in the comment section. And step three, if you have a favorite moment from the Pat Mayo Experience of the year, list it and tell me what show it's from. And then if I cobble together like a best of, then it's less work for me to do. So you do that, you're in a draw for $20 DK. There's also another draw you can get into, and I'll be announcing the winner on Monday's live show, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with Chris Meany. Is if you listen to this in the audio version, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever it may be, go leave a review, leave your Draftkings handle, 5-star review, something you like about the show, and then boom, you're in the draw for 20 DK bucks. Again, for the audio listeners, that's where you want to get in. People always ask me, how do I get into these, Geoff? I mean, I listen to the audio podcast. I can't smash the like button, but there's a way that people can get in and give us the reviews we need to get to 10 million downloads.
The quest for 10 million.
I don't think we're going to get there. Shot too high. 9.5 would have been really the marker we should have went for.
Yeah, it wouldn't have sounded as good.
No. 10 million sounds good. It's a nice round number.
Yeah.
It's a lot, 10 million. But yeah, do you have a favorite moment from the show so far this season? I think my favorite moment is when Tim thought of that Mr. Peanut thing just out of nowhere and then like laughed himself to death for 6 minutes.
That's pretty good. That'd be just piggybacking yours. On the spot. That's kind of hard. Really, the fact that I just know a guy who bet someone even money on the Patriots winning the division.
That's true. All the bets made in that show were pretty ridiculous. So let's introduce the man of the hour. He's coming in riding what he calls a heater. Although I think he's going to lose that bet about the Patriots not winning the division at even money. His name is Tim Cust.
Tim Cust.
That is not my name.
Heard it was.
And I think, considering the week I had, I think I can officially be called the third member of the show this week.
No, you're still the fourth member of the show. I just forgot to grab the coin. That was the problem. Because the coin is tied for the lead in picks. In fact, there is a three-way tie for the lead in picks. I am not a part of this, by the way, because I went 7-8. I'm 74-93. I'm having a terrible season. I thought if I had one big week and Tim had one bad week, I could really catch up to him. Instead, It went the opposite way. Cust goes 11-4 against the spread to bring his record to 90-77. Geoff, you and the coin were both 8-7. You came into the week tied. You guys are also 90-77 for the year.
We got some company.
All three super locks hit for all three of us, and Tim comes into the week 1-10 on teasers for the season. Hits his Thanksgiving teaser, because every Thanksgiving teaser hit, and then hits his Sunday one, too. He's almost halfway out of all the losing money he's given out this year.
Hey, I just like to think of the guy that sort of just found the show last week and believes the words free money.
They're doing well.
Yeah, that guy's up some units thanks to Tim and now thinks he's a genius.
So,
but no, listen, Tim hit his teasers. He's making back the money. He's saving Christmas for some folks that have been riding him all year.
Well, there's still like 4 free money weeks left for them to lose all the money back. So, Tim, you so rarely get to take a victory lap on the show. Please, the floor is yours.
I mean, what else is there to say other than I'm on an unquestionable heater, and it feels great, and I feel happy that your record is so bad you wouldn't even mention what your win-loss record was after you mentioned ours.
I did.
And,
the first thing I said was my record.
What was your record?
74-93.
So would you say at this point you're not going to catch me with
It's
5
over.
weeks to go?
I wouldn't say it's over.
It's over.
I've seen bigger collapses from you in the past, sir.
16
Yeah, I
games,
don't-
5 weeks. See,
It was a great week, and I didn't feel I didn't feel it all that much this week. Like I had a bunch of home. I thought Denver would win outright, but that's a tough pick to make, and they made it. I thought Buffalo would win outright. It's a tough pick to make, and they made it. So like all that, and I started 1-2 on Thanksgiving, so it had the makings of not a great week, and just everything just sort of like broke for me in the right direction all week, and so that was a very gratifying feeling to get it right, and hopefully, as the People's Tribune, I was able to provide them with some cash for Thanksgiving and the holiday season.
The real People's Tribune was Paul Shag. Paul, how many games were on that parlay you hit? 9-game money line parlay. Boom. Ball shag.
That's very good.
Cross sport.
Was it cross sport?
Yeah, because the Lakers were on that parlay.
The Lakers. Just throwing everything in.
I had to double take Tim's because like Sunday night I'll like just bring up the cheat sheet and like do some accounting, and it was just like it was like holy jeez, like Tim I don't think lost a game on Sunday.
No,
Just
until the night game or something.
Bengals was the only one I got wrong.
Yeah, the mighty Bengals, and then the Green Bay game.
I'm like Secretariat.
But what's
coming around
also
the last
funny,
turn.
hold on, because it's also funny worth noting, is on Thursday, the anti-Cust teaser also hit.
It did. So we saw someone play it. Paul played the anti-Cust teaser and won. So everything just middle. Everything came up Cust this week. So the biggest thing, we have one of two things to get to here before we jump into the games. The big one is we're starting a new segment and potentially a new show. So what it's going to be, do you know about Dear Abby, Geoff?
Yes.
So people send their personal situational problems to like Ann Landers or Dear Abby or whoever, and they get their answers. They get a response from these people. We are opening up Dear Custy. So if you have some sort of social situation or some sort of problem in your life, and you would like Tim Andercust to weigh in on that, we already have a whole bunch piled up in the email account anyway. Email Dear Custy.
Are they real?
DearCusty@gmail.com. Then just
I saw
fill
you
up
send
the
out the
inbox.
thing. I'm just curious, like, do you think they're real scenarios or people
A
were
few of them sound like real scenarios.
Okay,
Some of them
fair.
are just trolling Tim, which are pretty funny.
good?
So
And yeah, this is like wide ranging, like coworkers, in-laws.
There's a few of those coming up already. The more real your situation is, the better chance it has of making the show. I will
Like
say
that yarn lady.
Like the yarn lady.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
I have it pinned to my Twitter account right now if you want to see the sort of situations.
Pardon
that we're
my
talking
ignorance.
about.
What is prudence? People.
I
like,
think that's
what
like
is
on
that?
Slate. I think slate.com. They have like an advice column. That's where that's
Oh,
from.
okay. Because people seem to like be very much in the know, but I mean, I figured it was just a ask help column that's in every local whatever.
You can actually Google Dear Ayn Rand, and there's a whole thing of it. She just calls everyone a communist. Can't wear red lipstick. Too communist. So anyway, you can get into that. I had something else too, and completely spaced on what it was. Oh
I
yeah,
think I know what it was.
you bring it up because it was very insulting to everyone.
Oh, we're just talking
Let's
about.
move on.
Well, no, Tim and his turncoating on Saturday night.
It was so pathetic. Tim now has a thing for the rest of the year that he's not allowed to concede anything in anything, or he has to pay off his bet of following Doug the Pug on Twitter and announcing that Doug the Pug is the true king of pop culture.
Well, on many levels, it's annoying, and just for anyone not familiar, is what Notre Dame was down 10-0, still in the first quarter, and he goes on Twitter and concedes the game. And that's like the most epic, or it's one of the higher levels of attention-seeking behavior, Pat.
I agree.
Because he just either way, he knows he can, what he wants is Notre Dame to obviously come back, win the game, go undefeated in their regular season, get into the playoff, he'll be happy, and sort of revel in the fact that he's triggered so many of his fans, what have you. And on the other side of the coin is, if they don't win the game, he could just be like, I knew right away in the first quarter. So it's very much attention-seeking behavior.
Well, Tim loves credit. He loves getting credit from people. So what he likes to do is play both sides of things and then claim that he won. That's Tim's go-to move.
I don't agree with that.
It is. It just go back and just look at your track record of anything. That's all you actually want. It's like how you were taking credit for your Super Bowl pick 3 weeks ago.
It's still looking pretty good, by the way.
That's great. When it hits, you can get some credit for it. We don't need you talking about your Super Bowl pick and how right you were in the middle of fucking November.
Even like our buddy NYC Punters glad-handing Tim on Twitter for like a Seahawks future that was 70, and now it's like 55. And I'm like,
they're not going to win.
Hold on, not that they're not going to win. Not enough has happened here to be glad-handing Tim. Just goes right to his head. Like I get maybe the bet's good. Seattle looks like they're hot. Russell Wilson could beat anyone at any time. I'm not arguing that, but not enough has changed for Tim to be pumping tires.
For a 70-1 Seahawks Super Bowl.
Yeah, for be pumping air into Tim's tires. But back to the point at hand, it's just very soft in many ways. You're a 14-point favorite in college football. right? So even if they're down 10, like worst case, like any fan, me, I'm like super paranoid. As an example, the Chargers were almost a 2-touchdown favorite. They were down 10.
They got down 10. Did you concede the match to
No,
Arizona?
but I was internally very mentally frustrated and paranoid, and like my fears were like, okay, let's just get to the fourth quarter down a field goal. Like that's what I'm saying. You know, like we get like one quarter left, down 3, we'll figure it out. Like Tim's like, it's college football. Like you can't even like worst case be like, no, we can like hold on here, be down like 3, like going into the fourth, and we'll win the football game. Let alone win it in a pretty
convincing fashion?
Yeah, it was did Notre Dame? I mean, did USC score again?
Yes, they did.
Oh, to backdoor it though.
And
The
like
spread, but
USC
the game was
fumbled. The game changed when USC fumbled with like 30 seconds left to go in the first half. They were on their way to score a touchdown to go up 17-7. And I think that would have actually been a dagger. And
Either
they
way, you're
a mental midget, is what you are.
You're
now,
too,
listen,
you're so
this is a
soft.
way for me to get
and-
out my anxieties.
Why? Why would you need to get out of your anxiety? What does that
No,
matter? And
it's
why
a-
do you need to tell everyone about it?
It's attention seeking.
It is.
It's
That's
not
exactly
getting out
what it
your
is.
anxiety. It's just attention
You should
seeking.
just wear a shirt. You should just wear a shirt that says "Look at me."
I mean,
Please
to be
pay.
fair,
Please pay attention to me.
the
And then all
whole
all the Notre Dame fans turned on Tim, said he wasn't allowed to watch the next game because he's not a true fan.
Yeah, well,
No, he's a true fan.
No, he's not. You know, he doesn't just want to give up on the team.
No, he's like-
and then he wants to take credit on the other side.
He's not strong-willed, but he's a true fan. But he is incredibly stubborn and strong-willed. So it's very.
I know what I was doing.
I don't know.
Oh,
it was-
you knew what you were doing, dude? Is that you admitting the curse is real?
No, it's just
Then why make the claim unless you're trying to leverage the curse to your advantage?
It was an opportunity for me to get out my anxieties about a game where I thought the season has been going too well. At some point, the rug's going to be pulled out from underneath of us, and when is it going to come? And here's against our biggest rival, and they, a desperate, hungry team at home. They get up early. They're throwing all over the Irish defense, and I thought, oh no, it's just going to be that. This is where it ends for us.
10-0.
What a heartbreak.
Wasn't like
And
21-0.
I was wrong. And I was delighted to have been wrong. And whatever, you say, oh, it's attention seeking on Twitter. Well, the whole purpose of Twitter, of tweeting, is for other people to see the things that you are tweeting.
Okay, that's fine. This was like a different level of
you're
Saturday night
you're not
attention-seeking
selling
behavior.
anything. You're not trying to get link clicks on anything. You just want people to pay attention to you.
I mean, I don't feel bad about how everything went because in the end we won. And so that's fine. Like, I don't care what we won the game. It was closer than it should have been. I was right to have been nervous all week. It started poorly. And if it had not been for that fumble, I think we definitely would have lost. I really do believe that. I think we got super lucky on that fumble at the end of the first half.
Now he's just trying to salvage his terrible behavior. Like, oh yeah, if they hadn't fumbled, Notre Dame definitely would have lost.
I do think they would have.
Break. USC's terrible.
Games change on weird things, and that was an instance of that.
Okay. Any final thoughts here?
Irish are going to the playoffs, though.
You did say that all you wanted was for the Irish to go to the playoffs, and then a legit 3 minutes later, you said they were going to beat Georgia.
No, I said I think they could beat Clemson.
Sorry, yeah, you said is that who they're going to end up playing, Clemson?
Likely. Not certain, but likely.
So you said that they can beat them, and you're already.
I think they can beat them, but if they don't, I will take it in stride.
You said all you wanted was for them to go to the playoffs, but now you're going to have a little pissy fit, like a little girl, and you're just going to stress out the entire time and probably concede after 3 minutes.
No, I promised that I wouldn't concede all just of 2018, and that game will be on December 29th, so I will not be conceding.
Yeah, but you can definitely concede other things in between now and then. You're big on conceding. Like when you concede fantasy matchups to people in our league and they get pissed.
Oh, I hate that guy.
I've done that so many
That,
times.
like,
every
leave-
time, but
like,
we
it's
keep telling
Sunday
you,
at, like,
if you
4
really want to concede, take your fucking players out.
It's
The
literally
best
like
was-
Sunday at 4:45. He's not hanging around for the afternoon, but on his way out, he like congratulates the guy he's playing for beating him. When there's still like three, 4, 5 guys aside. I hate that guy
Yeah,
in
he's the
general.
worst.
In general,
It's Tim. That is classic Tim.
One of my favorite times was in fantasy baseball. Our friend Ryan had me beaten because by the winning percentage, he had to the third digit. He had a better winning percentage than I did. We were tied for the last playoff spot, so he was going to get in. And I congratulated him, and Yahoo glitched and gave me the playoff spot instead. And he didn't get it. It was glorious.
Let's get into the games. Thursday nighter, we have New Orleans at Dallas. Dallas, 7.5-point underdogs at home. 52.5 is the game total. I will keep this short. I shall keep this sweet. New Orleans gonna cover. New Orleans gonna win by a lot.
We got 7.5 or 7. We got 7 on the board here.
No, I guess it adjusted down to 7. I had 7.5 from 25 minutes ago.
Okay. On our site, it's 7.
Okay, 7.
Well, it's important.
I'll make the note.
All right.
We usually just go by what I say because, the audio listeners can't see the graphics. You realize that, right?
I mean, are the odds subject to change?
The odds and lines are subject to change. See website for actual odds. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But yes, the audio people can't see the visuals, Tim. And don't say you knew that because you definitely did not know that.
Of course I knew that. You laughed at me when I waved goodbye to the audience when I was there in person. I learned.
So I love New Orleans in this spot. They've covered now 9 straight games. Dallas riding high at home. Primetime spot seems like a gigantic letdown. Because what happens when they fall behind? If Dallas needs to run the ball early, they need to score some points early and keep this from becoming a huge track meet. Get a bit of a lead, run the ball as efficiently as possible, milk the clock. I think that's how you beat New Orleans. A lot like the Ravens tried to do in Baltimore earlier this year. I think that's the best game plan for playing the Saints. And, well, the pieces are there for Dallas to do it. 3 of their O-linemen are banged up. They're probably going to play, but they're not going to be close to 100%. And I don't know if they have the weapons on defense, although their defense is pretty good, to stop New Orleans. I don't know if anyone does. You eating Rice Krispies over there or what?
No, I thought Geoff was gonna jump in first. He usually does in the Thursday games. So I just didn't want to Bigfoot him here.
Is that because you were outside smoking?
No, I was just
sure.
checking.
Are you sure
I'll
you were
go
outside
quickly.
smoking?
This is the first end of a 5-team money line, of a 5-team 7-point tease. We're going to tease the Saints down to pick them. And I'm going to pick the Saints with the 7-2. I'm done stepping in front of the Saints. I didn't do it last week. They covered, although it was a bit touch and go. They probably were the wrong side. However, they covered. And I think they should be able to take care of Dallas. The great thing with this Thursday nighter, unlike every other Thursday nighter since opening night, is that both teams are fully rested. They'll have 7 full days before this game. So you should expect both of these teams playing pretty much at their peak. And I think the Saints in that situation should go into Dallas and win the game.
Coin likes Dallas. Geoff, who do you like?
I appreciate you knocking off that half point, Pat. I'll say this. I like the Saints. It's Breeze, it's Peyton versus Garrett and Dak. I think they match up well. The Saints haven't given up a 100-yard rusher since like week 12 or 11 of last year. I think Lattimore can sort of handle Cooper. I think they also possess just matchup problems for how dominant they are. Dallas sort of controls their own destiny and their only way to the playoffs in that division. And there's the head-to-head games that sort of will control that.
Well, if Dallas loses this game, then both Washington and Philadelphia would then control their own destiny in the NFC East.
All right. So
Interesting.
I just want to step in here and say I hate that expression because destiny is something you have no control over. You don't control your own destiny. It's a terrible expression. All right, now
sounds like you're triggered.
I just hate that expression.
Why don't you just stop being triggered and stop being a snowflake?
Anyways, yeah, Saints.
Saints? Yeah. Did that easy?
Yeah.
All right, round of Saints.
I'm a little worried about a backdoor, but Saints.
All right, yeah, coins on Dallas. Sunday games, Arizona and Green Bay. I was surprised to see this line as Green Bay minus 14. 44.5 is the over-under in this spot. Jimmy Graham not practicing, but honestly, it's like he hasn't been playing the entire year, so I don't really think that makes that big of a difference. I guess you get Patrick Peterson dealing with Devontae Adams. Green Bay's defense or offense really hasn't looked all that good in ages, but can the Cardinals cover this number in Kansas City? Or at least they pushed this number. They covered the 17.5, whatever it was. They would have covered this number in Kansas City. I just see Green Bay beating down bad teams. They still seem like that's when they're at their best. And the defensive line for the Packers can get to Josh Rosen, who's been historically bad under pressure. So I think that we might see sort of like a repeat of like the Bills game against the Packers, like 22-3, 27-10, something like that. So I'll take the Packers and the points.
I'm going to take the Packers as well. I'm expecting... I know for a fact Rodgers has read all this stuff this week. And almost like Steve Buscemi in... he's like making an enemies list. He's reading all of it. And when the season's over, he's going to, go to his boy Michael Silver as an unnamed source and just unleash fury on everything that he's bothered by.
Are you on the same page as Terry Bradshaw, where you take Mike McCarthy over Aaron Rodgers?
No. And here's the thing. Going back to like last year we did shows, I always like would harp on the organization not doing enough there. Then it's easy to blame McCarthy. I will acknowledge at this point Rodgers does deserve more than 0% of the blame. He's won in 9 of his last 10 road games. Look at the games that he's won this year, Pat. The miracle comeback Monday night versus Chicago. The Bills game. The close game that the Monday Nighter versus the 49ers in Bethard that everyone made think that Bethard was half decent. Was it Bethard?
Yeah, it was Bethard.
It was, and they
the
lost.
Brock Osweiler-led Dolphins. Those are the 4 wins. It's pretty ugly. That being said, this is going to be a big home win, like 31-10.
I feel against those like bad teams at home, the Dolphins and the Bills. Like I feel like they covered that number. I forget what the score of the Dolphins game.
Yeah,
was.
the Dolphins
they covered that game.
They ended up kicking a lot of field goals, and I don't know. I think they won by at least 12, and the number might have been like 9 or 10. I don't know.
They covered that game, as I recall, because I remember Gary.
Yeah, the Dolphins were 10-point dogs and did not cover.
So yeah, I like Green Bay here.
Tim?
I agree. I just think Arizona, a dead team going outside into the freezing cold in an early game, not West Coast, but a Western time zone team. Yeah, I just don't like anything about it. I think the number is probably too high in that I would not bet this game, but having to make the pick, I would pick Green Bay.
Baltimore is in hot Atlanta, 1-point underdogs against the Falcons. Game total is 48. We got Lamar Jackson back in action here with the Gus bus running right through everyone. Alex Collins may or may not play here. They did say that Joe Flacco would need a full week of practice before returning to being the starter. I think that's their way of sort of hedging against Lamar Jackson, because Flacco's like ready to play right now, but they don't want to play Flacco. They want to ride this Lamar thing for all it's worth. But can Baltimore keep up with Atlanta here? Because Baltimore plays Kansas City. I think it's next week. And I think that the way that Baltimore is running their offense right now is the perfect way to get to Kansas City, almost like Denver did against them in both matchups, where just run the ball as much as possible, try to have like 9-minute drives and make a defensive stop or two, and you can make it a game. And I don't know if that's going to work against Atlanta here. It's a really tricky game for me to figure out, because Baltimore's defense good, Atlanta's defense bad. And if Baltimore can just continue to run the ball over and over and over, they should be able to win this game like 2014, something like that. Tim, which way are you leaning?
The value is on the Falcons. I think you got to take them. I think that Baltimore, like you said, to put it kindly, is very deliberate on offense. They don't have any explosion in the play calling or the playmaking. The Falcons should have beaten the Saints on Thursday night. They screwed up so many times. They went toe to toe with New Orleans.
That's a really bold
like cover. There's a lot of fumbles. Like
they should have won, yet couldn't cover 13.5 points.
No. They had opportunities to hold serve in a lot of situations, but they certainly never gave the vibe that they should be winning the football game.
Put it this way: they had the Saints beaten Week 5 and then lost in OT. And they were right with them step for step.
No, because you're giving them credit for scoring. Even, right off the bat, New Orleans scores a touchdown. The Saints march right down. They fumble the snap on 3rd down. Even if they recover that snap, it's like 3rd and 11, and they're kicking a field goal, and they're down 7-3, and they're never winning the game.
I've seen the Falcons look decent against New Orleans twice. I think New Orleans would absolutely rip the Ravens apart. I think that the better team is the Falcons, and I'm going to take them getting less than a field goal at home with the extra long rest. I think that their offense should put up anywhere between 27 and 30, and I don't think Baltimore can come close. So the Falcons are in that circle of teams I'm looking at for a super lock.
Then why didn't you put them on your teaser?
I don't want to go through the number, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, there's not much value. I see that.
No, but he said there's ultimate value on -1. If you got
there is some value on just taking
if
the
if there's value on the -1, then there's got to be value to tease it.
I feel like they were an early underdog in this game. Also,
they were, and we saw Baltimore play New Orleans. That game would have went to overtime if Tucker didn't miss an extra point.
The game was outdoors.
For me to have interest on this game, I do like Atlanta for the purposes of the show. Much like you, Pat, it's a game I don't know. It's really hard for me to gauge. I do think the way Baltimore can run the ball can kind of dictate this game. You saw how even Dallas went into Atlanta and they just ran the ball 3-4 a carry, even a couple like 4th and real shorts you can go for because you have that sort of confidence. But if that linebacker on Atlanta can finally freaking play, I'd be maybe even interested in betting them. Jones, but he never seems to play, but he's always running out there around pregame.
So you two are taking Atlanta. The coin and I will take Baltimore. I'm kind of with you that I think that Baltimore can dictate the pace of this game by running the ball. And what does Atlanta do every single week?
Kick field goals? I don't
kick
know.
field
Like
goals and they've kicked
do a
field
great
goals and
job,
fuck
like
up all the time.
do a great job moving the ball like 60 yards and completely stalled.
And getting 0 points. Like that's the whole
Yeah.
them and Carolina. There's something going on with those two. They just cannot convert when they have to. And with Baltimore, I don't know if Atlanta's going to have an answer for running the ball 40 times at them.
Baltimore's still playing for a lot. Atlanta's really just in a spoiler role now as well, right?
It's true.
For the most part, yeah, I would agree.
So, I don't know, maybe if they get down in this game, maybe they do bring in Flacco, but I think Jackson's been... If you don't ask Jackson to do too much, you're basically playing with Tim Tebow, who's slightly better.
Yeah, I watched Jackson, for the most part, struggle against the Raiders, and that's about as easy an opponent as you're going to get. So, like, I think it only gets harder from here for him.
The problem with Jackson is that in each of the games so far, he's made some pretty disastrous throws that could have went the other way for 6 pretty easily, and they didn't. And even the Raiders, and maybe it's because the Baltimore defense was sleepwalking a little bit, but they gave them some big plays in that game to the Raiders, and the Raiders not quite known for their big plays.
No.
Tony
and Atlanta is, but I don't know. I just like Baltimore here to get the win.
One of the Monday through Friday guys I like to whose takes I do enjoy is Tony Gonzalez. He doesn't think Lamar will be in the league very long.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just lost my earpiece.
You lost your earpiece? Okay. So let's go from Lamar Jackson to discount Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. The Bills are 5-point dogs in Miami. The game total, 40. It's a real low total. All the teams outside of the Patriots this week, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets are all involved in like the 2 lowest scoring games of the week. So Josh Allen basically does the same thing that Lamar Jackson does, but he can throw it further. The guy just runs all the time. They don't even run with Shady anymore. It's like
Josh
Allen, you go
Allen
run.
made a throw that I swear to God, I don't know if there's another guy in the league that makes
The little
that
wrist
throw.
flick that went for 70 yards?
With a guy like draped on him.
Yeah, I listen. Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
But they're doing the same sorts of things on offense. Like he's just putting the ball down and running it.
Okay, I'll say this.
Threw the ball 8 times in the first half last week.
Wasn't shocked by the Dolphin cover last week. Obviously, I guess they're a better, more competent team with Tannehill late in the game. Their play calling sort of just handed the ball back to Indianapolis. Yeah. They obviously didn't trust their quarterback to make certain plays.
It's very nice that you've called him a quarterback. Usually, you would just say they didn't trust their receiver.
That's not my MO with him, but I'm not a hater. I know people like that despise him. I still don't know what to make of him, to be perfectly honest. But I don't have confidence in his ceiling being anything I would want on my team. That being said, the Dolphins don't impress me much, nor should they impress anybody. The game that they won was against, in recent memory, was against the Jets, where the Jets even outgained them almost 2-1. To me, the Bills and teams like the Bills and Browns, I'm excited to be play-on teams in the coming weeks. The quarterbacks sort of rejuvenate, just a level of energy there. I'm happy to take these points with the Bills this week.
Well, the best unit in this game is the Bills' defense. And you can really get to Tannehill because that offensive line is not holding up at all. And they're generating no pressure, although Josh Allen gets sacked all the time. The Bills just seem like 1 week on, 1 week off, though. Like, they're very capable of just scoring no points.
Yeah. But I think I'll take 5.
You'll take the 5 with Buffalo in a division game? I mean, I would like this. What do you think the line, Tim, is going to be when these teams play again in 3 weeks in Buffalo?
Buffalo minus 5.5.
No. Dolphins by 2. Dolphins by 1.5.
I would like the Bills much better in that game.
I don't. I think the Dolphins are decent. I think the Bills are bad. I'm going to take the fish here. Part of the reason, as you said, I'll believe Buffalo can put together 2 really competent games in a row when I see it. They came off bye last week, and they had a pretty good game plan for Jacksonville, who is somehow...
Wait, so haven't they put together a couple in a row, though?
Well, they were off. Who did they play before their bye? Well, they played the Jets. That's fair. I have to say that's right. They in the last 3 weeks they played 2 games and they killed the Jets, and they didn't kill the Jags, but they took care of the Jags. What are the odds that this team's going to put together 3 games in a row? I guess I don't know. The Dolphins should have beaten the Colts. It's very frustrating. You get up 10. That's a game you should never ever lose, and yet they managed to throw the game away.
Based
annoying.
on that logic, I could see why he conceded on Saturday night. You get up 10. You should never. Who loses?
It'd be impossible to lose.
Have you ever how many times have teams come back from 10 points?
I've
in
never
football?
actually seen it because I just turn the game off when that happens and just assume that team won.
All right. Yeah, you're all very clever. I'm going to take
It's
the
a
Dolphins.
really silly statement to say
just-
a game is over in pro football if
into
one
the-
team's up 10.
It was well into the
I
fourth quarter.
agree, and I kind of in our private message.
The Dolphins have done this. They did it.
Dolphins
They
had
did
outplayed the Colts all
it
game.
at Cincinnati earlier this year too.
Listen,
I think they were up 20 in the fourth quarter.
I'm
That's
grateful
why
because
Gase should probably lose his job, because if this team could close, they would be probably 8-3 right now. But they can't close, and so they're 5-6, and that's got to be on him. That's lack of preparation. Ultimately, when teams give up leads like that on the road, week after week, that has got to be held at the feet of the head coach. And so Gase probably will keep his job, but he probably shouldn't, because I don't think he's doing a very good job with that team. I think they've got a
I don't
ton
think
more
they're very good.
5-6 in the AFC.
I don't think that they're
Gase
five
is
and six seems like a big.
It's one of the more
overachievement.
uninspiring rosters in the National Football League, and I would argue,
I feel like 5 and 6 is good for them.
yeah, they stole a couple
agree.
games. I mean, I know he's referring to last week. He's referring to what, the Bengal game that did they hold on and win that game?
No,
Or
they
did
lost it.
No, it's
But they they shouldn't have beaten the Bears. The Bears sort of handed them again. They've been living with these fluky turnovers and real fluky shit. I think they're horrible.
What's their record at home?
I'm trying to think if they've lost any games at home.
That's what I was thinking too. They beat Tennessee at home in week 1,
They beat the Raiders at home.
and they won against the Bears at home.
They lost to the
Jets.
Lions
They
at home.
beat
Didn't the
Jets-
Lions?
They beat the Jets at
Didn't the
home.
Lions go in there and beat them up pretty good?
Yes, they're 4-1 at home.
I'm efforting this right now. Do they have a home loss? Yeah,
The Lions.
the Lions, and that was a pretty convincing one.
But that,
Other than that, yeah, it's a clean sheet for them. Otherwise,
I just don't.
they're a good team at home in the heat. I like them.
I don't know.
No, the Heat's over, man. That's
still
over. That's
incredibly-
September. No, that is done. The Dolphins are 7-22 as a 3.5-point favorite or more at home since 2008.
7-22.
Yes.
All right,
Those
Bills.
would be 8-22.
Bills for me then. You convinced me, Geoff. Buffalo.
Ryan Tannehill is 3-8 ATS as a favorite of 5 or more. Right there. That's probably more important because that's Tannehill. This is going back to a lot of
But he's
losers.
not a 5-point favorite in this game. It's 4.5.
That's fine. I have it at 5.
All right, we got 5 on this sheet, buddy.
Yeah, we're playing it at 5. Remember, listen to what I say. Because the audio.
You've
listeners
already
can't
moved
see.
one line today.
That's the power I have. You see.
Of not paying attention.
Yes.
The power of not listening. Tim Andercust. Carolina at Tampa Bay.
All right, here we go.
3.5 is the line in this game. Dogs, home dogs for the Bucks. 55.5, the second highest projected scoring game on the slate right now, only to that Kansas City Oakland game. So people expect points in this game. I would expect points in this game because neither of these defenses are all that inspiring. But Carolina, man, I can't figure out what they're doing.
That they ruined my Sunday.
They didn't ruin my Sunday, but
No,
I gave that West Coast to East Coast parlay coming on, and Carolina really should have covered that.
I'd had a great Sunday if they. I had a good Sunday. I'd had a great Sunday if they won. What an infuriating game! I mean, to almost double the yards to such
Red zone. And here's what I don't like about, and Tim and I got into this last week about Ron Rivera going for it in Tennessee, and I still think that he should have went for in Detroit. Sorry, I still think that he should have went for it, and he went for it early in this game too, and they didn't get it 4th and 1. Although it looked like Cam had the yardage.
did.
But either way,
No, he didn't.
They
He was
didn't.
short of the
Shut
line
up!
to make.
Can you let me fucking finish? Next time they go down there, they have a 4th and 2 from like the 7-yard line, something like that. They kick a field goal. Either you commit to going for it, or you kick a field goal every time. There's no playing with it because it didn't work out because you didn't get it by an inch. That is the part that makes no sense. You commit.
Well, but at some point you run out of good plays.
You commit to going for it, or you don't go for it. I like going for it. Going for it is the better move when you're that close to the goal line.
That entire game.
But how do you switch up what you're doing halfway through? That's the part I don't
Because
understand.
you-
Quite
and-
easy,
and-
actually.
and-
Don't have so many plays.
you're afraid of dominating so early and it being 0-0. But
And that-
3-0
Yeah,
feels
exactly.
like 0-0.
Which matters.
3-0 almost feels like
Essentially
more of a
is
kick in the
0-0.
pants.
Here's the thing.
And
That
then settling for a 54-yard field goal with knowing that if you miss, Russell Wilson's just going to come down and score. And the game's over.
I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so about this team. They're not good. They're not making the playoffs. They're a team that overachieved early in the year, and they're achieving at about their level now, which is barely 500. And they're going to be under 500 after this week.
And I trust me, I hate that crap like the right side. You know, they were the right side last week.
No, they
were.
No, they weren't. They were the losing side. Tim is big on being on the right side of things when he loses.
It was
infuriating. That's classic Tim demanding credit.
It was an infuriating loss. They outgained them 2-1. They were mind-boggling. I mean, you saw those 3 points they left on the field everywhere. That entire game.
And then just getting plays over the top.
That entire game was Carolina winning on defense on first and second down, and Russell Wilson just making plays. Third down after third down. Yeah, huge plays over the top. What a frustrating...
Drew Brees is going to be MVP, but Russell Wilson is actually the MVP, and I find it harder and harder to believe that he shouldn't win because
I really enjoy that again that you're giving out MVP awards before December has happened.
Well, but we're into the December games now, and we are running.
You can't just let the season play itself out and make your pick, can you?
No, but
you have to give it. You have to. Why would we look at it right now? There's no
the betting odds are there. So
there's no 78% MVP.
No, but you can see a look at the betting odds.
Are you going to bet it?
No. Because
then why are we looking at it? Why are you telling me who should win, who's going to win when there's still 4 games left?
It's an interesting point.
It's not.
B,
it's not. You just want to say Russell Wilson's great.
Well,
great. Everyone knows that.
I know you don't think it's interesting, but you're not the only arbiter of these things.
Actually, as producer of this show, I think I've had a long track record of figuring out what's interesting and what's not. Left to you, no one would watch.
I'll take Carolina because they're just got to stop the bleeding, and they'll probably win convincingly.
You're taking Carolina?
Yeah.
It's a lot of points. 3.5 to cover. They're terrible. Tim just said so.
I know.
Who are you taking then, Tim?
Oh, Tampa Bay. We're teasing Tampa Bay up. Tampa is also in the very short circle of teams to be a super lock. I think the money line on Tampa is a great play too.
So Tampa up to 9.5?
No, up to 10. It's 10
and a half.
10.5. Sorry,
10.5. 7 points.
Yeah, 10.5.
So the first 2 teasers are New Orleans and Tampa Bay.
Indeed.
Stuck on this game because Tampa's bad. We can't forget that. And Jameis didn't turn the ball over last week. Although Tim said,
here's the thing though. They're not bad. The Niners are bad. The Buccaneers are cut above bad. The Niners. I didn't think that was going to be a very high scoring game last week because I didn't think the Niners could score. And I think the Buccaneers are mediocre, not bad.
They have a really bad defense. They have a great offense.
Yes, that's fair to say.
And they don't run the ball, and that's where Carolina can really get at you, stopping the run, which what they did against Seattle. Then as soon as they started throwing, it was game over for them. So Deshaun Jackson may or may not play in this game, which I think would be a good element to have, just having someone that can take everyone right over the top because you can beat Carolina deep, as we saw again last week because Carolina just decided not to play any deep balls. And just
but for all the great plays that Russell made, Winston will make like a moronic play somewhere in there.
That's the whole thing, right?
There is a risk of that for sure.
Tim gave me a 30% chance that Winston would get benched last week.
It was a really weird
argument,
and especially for DFS purposes. It was a very weird argument.
I do think if you run that game 10 times, 3 of them he doesn't make it through. I stand by that.
I'm going to go. I should have listened to myself on the swag rule last week of if Cam can't outswag the opposing quarterback. If Cam doesn't think he's better than the opposing quarterback, Cam can't win. Cam's going to think he's better than Jameis Winston because he is. I'll take Carolina.
You know, because this whole thing with Jameis and will he be there next year, just a little quarterback roulette. Like a lot of rumors this week, like Stafford could be in Jacksonville. And what about Cam or Winston ending up with the Giants?
That's where I think he goes too. But, I mean, the Giants don't do much prep work, I don't think, at least in the front office. And Mullins played really well against them. So they might trade 4 first-round picks for Mullins.
Maybe.
But Jameis, I'm actually with Tim. I think that Eli's their quarterback next year.
I do stand by that.
I do think that's true.
I want Eli to have a great December because I want them to bring him back.
He's picking up the pace
quarterback
right now.
I want
bring him back.
If I were a Giants fan, is the guy's backing up Drew Brees. He's the best quarterback I think who will be available in the free agent market.
You want Teddy Bridgewater
to back up? If I were Giants or the Jaguars or the team that or someone who's going to be in need of a quarterback next season, maybe even the Lions.
Blake Bortles to the Giants?
Yeah, I don't.
That'd be fun. Who else is going to be available? Is that it?
Well, one never knows. I don't know how long Keenum's deal is.
Was that only 1 year or was it 2 years?
Two.
I don't know.
I think it was 2.
Keenum's been playing like sneaky okay for the past month.
Yeah. Denver's a darn good team. Dare I say, one of the very best teams by the numbers.
And I think they might have the inside track to this last playoff spot.
You know, I did a scenario generator, not to steal Tim's thunder. 'cause
You've been
it's
playing
something
around on the playoff machine?
Well, I just wanted to see something in particular, and
predictive.
I didn't like do a hardcore, like real, just like slight first instinct. I didn't do like a deep dive, but after all the games were picked, somehow Denver had a playoff spot.
Well, I believe the next few weeks they have Cincinnati this week. They play Oakland again. They play Cleveland, I think, and like just some other
They
garbage
play the
team.
Chargers week 17.
But that may not mean anything to
Phillip
the
might
Chargers.
take 3 snaps for his streak and then just leave.
But like the
right?
next 4 games for Detroit or for Denver are like entirely winnable.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Softer matchup. So they should get in. It's them or Indy, I guess. Unless Tennessee can start doing stuff again, because you never know with
No, I
them.
don't trust Tennessee.
No one trusts Tennessee, but they'll win games they shouldn't win, and all of a sudden they're right back in it. Tim, are you still in on the Dolphins? They gonna get the last spot?
No, I mean, I think at this point they'd have to win all the rest of their games to get in. They can't win any tiebreaks, so they would have to win 10 games. 9 and 7 if you're the Broncos or the Colts might be enough, but I don't think it will be for the Dolphins, the Bengals, or the Titans.
How much time would you say you spend a day at work on the playoff scenario generator?
I have some fun with the generator, but it's mostly just on my phone during break.
No one's believing that. Come on.
No, that's true. Like if I'm on break, I like to do a new playoff simulation.
Do they
every
make,
time?
do you have designated breaks at work?
Of course.
I don't think I've ever worked a job where there's like a designated break.
Well, I shouldn't say designated. Like everybody doesn't
Horn
go.
went off and it was break time.
Break time. That seems very counterproductive. Just let people like go on break when they want to for whatever time
Well,
they want
yes.
to.
I mean, I shouldn't say like
they're
they're designated.
like
You don't have to go like at sharp 9:45, for example. You can sort of take it whenever.
But like if you don't
Take it whenever.
if you don't take these breaks, do you then can you leave half an hour early?
No.
So you should be allowed to do that. That's much better. I think people would
No,
enjoy that
no,
more.
it is what it is.
Who needs a break? Come on. If
Well, if you're staring at a screen for multiple hours, you actually do.
I don't think so. You just want to power through all that and get home.
No,
I'm all about
you
power
actually,
during
you,
going.
like, physically.
The quicker I can get out of there, I mean, if I can give up my break time, that sounds great. How long do you get for lunch?
half hour.
Half hour? That's a good amount of time. There's some places that have you have to be there for 9 hours, but you get an unpaid hour-long lunch. That sounds horrible.
See, I hate that
Yeah.
because I'd rather just be working
Work through it
yeah.
or eat at your
Just eat at my desk working and then just be able to go when I'm done.
All right, next game. Chicago at the Giants.
I hate this game.
The line I found on this game is 4.5, only because it's still uncertain whether or not Mitch Trubisky is going to play or not. 44.5 would be the over-under. I do think Trubisky's going to play, so the Giants be 4.5 dogs at home. Tim, you're the Giants man. You like the Giants here?
No, I don't. I think last week was their last great hurrah, and they fell up. They came up short.
Did they intentionally tank the second half of that game? Because I think they did.
No, I don't think they intentionally.
What do you mean
did. I
last
just think,
great hurrah? To
like,
what?
Like they still had a glimmer of hope that maybe
No.
if they had won all their games, they had the Eagles. It was a big divisional game. Like that was their pivot point. If you have any hope, you got to absolutely win this. And the second half was a white flag of surrender. Not because they were trying to give up, just I don't think they know what they're doing. They don't maximize the talent that they have. And in the end,
Saquon
they
got
had
4 carries in the second half.
Yeah,
It's like they tried to
crazy.
lose.
It's like they
That's
tried to
totally
lose. Exactly.
I
haven't
don't.
seen that since
No
the
NFL
Cowboys
teams
in the
try
Titan
to
game.
lose, but they just very poorly managed that second half. And so, with that being said, I'll take the Bears minus the 4.5. I don't think it's enough. I think the Bears are a legitimately great team too, and I think they are the NFC sleeper. Everyone's talking about the Saints and the Rams, and quite justifiably. But if it's not those two teams in the Super Bowl, I think that it's probably the Bears. Their defense in a single game can slow anybody down. So I think they take care of the Giants, for example, this week. The bad weather doesn't bother them. That's it on the road. So let's take them.
I mean, just because it's outdoors doesn't necessarily make it bad weather. It might be
No,
bad
but
weather.
it's
But just to
it's
say that all these
December,
outdoor
it's
games are
warm.
bad weather or cold, like I live
Well,
in
they
a cold,
probably will be
I
cold.
live in a cold temperature. It's not very cold here today.
No, that's right, but it's still cool, and it will not affect the Bears either which way.
So 4.5 isn't enough. So I like Chicago in this game too. No matter who plays quarterback for Chicago, Trubisky or Daniel,
I agree with you.
they're going to be able to run the ball because anyone can run the ball on the Giants. They have the worst run defense in the league. The Bears, despite having the number 1 ranked DVOA defense, they are the best against the run. You slow down Barkley, you slow down this offense. I just like the Bears a lot here. And unless they're using jumbo max protect on Eli the entire time, he's going to have guys in his face the entire time. Been pretty good against pressure, but this is a different defense coming at him this week. So I like the Bears a lot. If you want to make like a prop bet for this game, Barkley over receptions is probably the play because I think that's how they'll try to get him involved.
The one thing I take from all of it is 4.5 isn't enough. That being said,
This line is off the board.
I can make one case for the Giants, and that's the Bears have to play the Rams next week, I believe, in prime time, Sunday Night Football.
Look ahead
That's
spot.
correct.
So that's the only case I can make, but it's not like 7.5. It's 4.5. So give me the Bears.
Coin likes the Giants. Coin loves Eli. I think the Coin takes the Giants almost every single week, just like Tim. Cleveland and Houston. Houston is a 6-point favorite at home. 48 is the over-under in this game. Garion, Mr. Garion Thorne, at Garion Thorne on Twitter, made a very good point to me yesterday on the ranking show. Houston's reeled off all these wins in a row. And all of a sudden, Marcus Mariota looked pretty good against them. Although somehow, despite what he had 1 incompletion, 2 incompletions, whatever it was, the Titans couldn't do anything just because of inept play calling. But they haven't faced anyone. So their defense, especially their pass defense, might be highly overrated because they played a slew of backup quarterbacks.
There's a big case to be out there that the Texans are overrated as a whole, but it's similar to, the Chargers who kind of hadn't played anybody and have the same record. So I don't know, because I look at Houston and I think about their big playmakers, and the ceiling when those guys are on point, to me, can be an elite team, kind of like the Chargers. That being said, I'm on the Brownies. I'm taking the points. Like I said, to me, the Bills and the Browns, these are play-on teams at the moment. Houston still can't block up the gut, and I think Cleveland can take advantage of that. Big emotional win on Monday. What's one of my favorite things to do in football this year, and I promise you it's been profitable, is just kind of fade the teams that just are coming off a dominant primetime performance. That this time around, it's you, Houston. So give me the Browns plus the 6. I think they can win this thing outright.
Yeah, I think that the Browns are very much live in this game, especially if their defense shows up. But here's some of the quarterbacks that the Texans have played the past few weeks. After beating the Colts and Cowboys in back-to-back weeks, they played Josh Allen, who got hurt, then had to play Nate Peterman. They played Blake Bortles, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, and Colt McCoy before they played Marcus Mariota. So it's not great for Houston in the defense that they've been playing. So I think that they've gotten a little bit overrated in that time. And I think they can be had. I like Cleveland as well. Tim, who do you like?
Yeah, I forgot that this week they're playing Joe Montana reincarnate, right?
I forgot how much you hate. Can we please talk about this? How awesome was Baker just being like, Hugh, you're the worst? It was fantastic because he is the worst.
I don't have a problem with that. They have inner dynamics of who knows what goes on between a coach and a quarterback. If he didn't want to be all buddy with him, I get it. I respect that. Whatever.
Well, I've never seen anyone do what Hugh's done before. Get fired with a head coach and then literally go in the division.
I feel like Josh McDaniels did this. He got fired and then went back to New England at one point.
I mean, what McDaniels did was worse than what Hugh Jackson did, to be fair. Because Jackson didn't ask to leave his job in Cleveland. He was fine.
Sure.
Mid-season, McDaniels?
Yeah, it was either he was the OC for the Rams, the head coach of the Broncos, or was he the head coach of the Rams too? I forget.
No, he was never Rams head coach.
But he was the Rams OC after leaving Denver, I think.
Yes, that sounds right.
And I think he got let go at the end of one of those seasons and went and joined the Patriots as a special offensive consultant one of the years.
Yeah, the year that Bill O'Brien had already agreed to go to Penn State.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I don't know. Wasn't the head coach. So I've never seen a head coach do it.
But how awful have the Bengals been since Hugh showed up?
It's pretty funny.
Terrible. And the Browns have been great.
I'll say this, because I do like Baker. It's been exciting. And I don't want to sound like the get off my lawn guy, because I don't really have the biggest issue with anything that kind of happened, because I think he feels that Hugh lied to him, and he's not the only one. There are a lot of guys on the Browns that seem to be defending Baker. But let's just talk about the elite quarterbacks. Whether it was Peyton or Brady or Breeze, or not even elite, the really good ones like Eli and Romo and Phillip. There's Russell. There's just a level of maturity that, like, every great quarterback, that's like the one link amongst, like, there's lots of links. But there's definitely a link to the maturity level. And I feel like it kind of, to be great over the long run in the National Football League, it does take sort of that level of maturity. I mean, even look at Russell.
You have turned into Tim.
No.
Russell Wilson was hawking water that cured concussions one off season.
Hold on a second, though. Russell Wilson.
All Phillip Rivers does is just yell at people and shame them on the field.
Hold on.
He does.
Hold on.
The guy never
I
shuts
certainly
the fuck
don't like
up.
the way Brady
Hold
gets
on.
to stand in the middle of referees conferences and yell at the referees to get calls changed. Like, he should be flagged every time.
Russell Wilson had his entire. I got to make a note to come back to that Phil comment.
Phil Rivers doesn't say they're just yelling at people the entire time, bitching about everything. That's what he does.
Okay, you're talking about on the. I'm talking about, like, the maturity of the locker room and, like,
None of
the
these people had Hugh
post-games.
Jackson as their head coach, who was just a disaster. You had Ellen. You don't think that Baker would be praying to have Ellen as his head coach instead of Hugh?
Russell Wilson was getting darts thrown at him by his own team. That defense, leaking stuff to ESPN, just throwing him under the bus time and time again. He didn't say boo. It's just a maturity level. No player has ever left the Chargers and said a word negative about Phillip Rivers.
But no one's saying anything negative about
Well,
Baker
I know,
Mayfield
but
except
we're-
for Hugh Jackson.
we're
Maybe
early
this is
there.
a spot where he can step
No, I'm not
up
really
and
bashing
really galvanize
Baker.
the team.
I'm just saying,
So you
look at
your quarterback can't say anything?
I didn't say that the quarterback can't say anything.
Well, maybe it's like Sanchez in New York, who we're not even sure he can speak. The guy might
I'm
be
not
a mute.
taking
He
the
might be a
the
mute.
only,
taking the
I'll
bait,
say this,
so you can
I'll
move
throw
on.
another quarterback under the bus. The only, like, elite quarterback that it's consistent that guys leave the team and actually throw him on, say things about him that I've never heard. Like, I never heard a player leave the Colts and insult Peyton Manning or say bad things. I never heard a player do that about Eli. Never seen a player leave the Saints O-lineman or receiver and throw Breeze under the bus. I've never seen a player leave the Chargers and have a bad word, O-lineman, receiver, anybody, about Phillip Rivers. There is one elite quarterback that guys do leave there and throw him under the bus, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, people don't like Aaron Rodgers.
Like,
I love Aaron Rodgers.
You watch that, like, Fox Sports 1 stuff sometimes with Greg Jennings. Like, he's, like, always throwing Rodgers under the bus there. I like Aaron Rodgers too. I'm not sort of knocking him, and I'll hold by what I said that at some point Mayfield, to be consistently amazing, will probably need to mature out a bit. But he's galvanized this Browns team with the chip on his shoulder, and they're playing with it, and good for him. And I've said a lot of words. I don't think I've repeated myself. I like the Browns to win this game.
So, Tim,
Yeah.
Cleveland. Are you on Cleveland as well?
No, I'm going to take the Texans. Not
You said
super
that so
strong.
sad.
I don't say it strongly because I get the case for why the Brownies could keep this close. But in the end, I just think that the Texans defense should be able to smother what Cleveland
I think he's
wants.
been sacked once in, like, the last 2 games.
He'll get sacked.
I think
He'll get sacked in this game. The big thing, can you keep
And
Deshaun Watson upright?
This is a real test for the rookie. I think this is one of the best defenses, if not the best, he's had to face all season. So it will be an interesting measuring stick to see how he does. I mean, the Browns still have, a pulse in the AFC playoffs, so to speak. So it would be, it would behoove them to play their best game and throw everything they can out there and leave no stones unturned. But in the end, I think the Texans win it by 7. So I think they cover the number just barely.
To say they have a pulse is pretty generous. I mean, the only reason they hold on to some graphic boards is because of the tie that they have.
Well, yeah, but it should have been a win. Like that, they got
But it's not a win. They don't get
It's not
credited
a
for a
win.
win.
All right.
No,
well,
but that's
sure. Some live data has 2% chance of making.
that's what I mean.
it.
Like a very faint pulse, drawing to an inside straight.
I think, drawing to an inside straight actually has better odds than 2%, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, not many.
What's that?
Not many more, but you're right.
I mean, more.
Whatever.
Okay.
He said you're right, so let's just.
Then he said not many more, but he's wrong on that. Technically, if you're drawing to an inside straight, you would have 4 outs coming on. Like, let's say you're drawing to it on the river, you would have 4 outs. Double those, you'd have 8%. Which would be 4 times as much. Anyway,
Point Pat.
math, it's tough to figure out.
Can be.
With Cleveland, the one spot in this game where I think they can really expose the Texans are bad against tight ends, like really bad. And Njoku is becoming more and more and more a part of this offense every single week. He's basically just pushed Landry to the side as like their go-to guy, that he can exploit them there. And if Chubb can, like, if the Texans don't get that weird game from Lamar Miller on Monday night, do they even win? They're rushing 97-yard touchdowns.
Emotional Monday night win. They've
Short
won.
week.
They've won a bunch in a row. I just think this is where they get got. And there's another team that should be getting got this week, but they're playing a dumpster fire, so they'll survive, and we'll get there soon.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, we probably feel opposite on that then.
All right, so next game, Denver and Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 5-point dog at home with A.J. Green angling to play. He's
playing, yeah.
He's trying to talk himself into playing. Unfortunately, he has Jeff Driscoll throwing him the ball, so that can't be great. Yeah, 5-point dogs at home. 44 is the over-under. This game has actually moved from 5 to 4.5 in some spots. I'm going to stick with the 5 on this one, right in the Vegas zone. But what is Cincinnati doing? Like, they're awful. Like, get rid of Hugh Jackson. He is killing your team. I think that just having him adjacent to your squad is making them worse. So I'll just take Denver.
Yeah, there's not really much to it for me either. I'm going to continue to ride Denver on this heater. Their defense will smother Driscoll, whose best asset is running. It's not very good.
No, he's not very good. Tim?
So,
Are you going down with the Cincy ship again?
I mean, we're teasing the Bengals up. We're not just taking. Like, listen, I like this Denver team a bunch. I picked them to make the playoffs before the year began. I think they have every chance. I do think they will end up winning the game, but I do not think they ought to be favored by 4.5 on the road. I think that is when they win games, they don't win them big as a rule, right? I mean, this is a team that when they win, they tend to eke out games. But I think if they've won any game this season by even 4.5 points, it should be effort. I should have been efforting this while you guys were talking. I feel like a fool now.
What was the game against Oakland earlier in the year?
They beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders by a point.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They beat They beat the Seahawks by 3 points. They beat. They crushed the Cardinals. So I got to give them that. They crushed the Cardinals. They beat the Chargers by a point, and they beat the Broncos actually last week by a touchdown. So they have 2 wins over this number. Both of those wins one was in Oakland.
No, they played Oakland in Denver week 2.
Yeah, but they did go to Arizona and crush them. So okay, fair enough. Listen, I still like these Bengals team. I don't care that they keep losing every week. I think they.
You do forget that the Broncos just covered this number against the Steelers last week.
I know, and I picked them. You know,
a game they should have lost, by the way.
I don't know. I think they were the better team on Sunday.
Really? You thought Denver was the better team than Pittsburgh, who turned the ball over on like the 1-yard line twice?
I think if Pittsburgh doesn't get that miracle 97-yard touchdown from Juju, they're not even close to being in the game. I think they got a big break to stay alive in that game. I get all the stuff, but like AJ Green gets back, they're at home. Cleveland is a desperate franchise. The whole world is on Denver right now. We're talking Denver up. We were doing the exact same thing. This is a classic game, a smell test line, a classic contrarian play where the world are on the Bengals, on the Broncos. So you take the Bengals. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to tease them up to 12, and I'm just going to roll with them. And God help me.
I don't hate your logic about how the world's going to be on Denver. They are going to be on Denver, but Denver just seems like they're a substantially better team. I always hate Denver away from Denver. They're usually a bit worse, but
and they are.
Is Driscoll any good?
Well, who knows? That's the main question. Who knows? He's played in a couple of mop-up spots, so in some ways we can't have an opinion on it yet because we don't know.
All right, so Cincy for you and the coin, Denver for Jeff and I. Indy at Jacksonville. This game is another home dog, 4.5 points for Jacksonville right now. It's been wavering between 3. It opened at 3, went up to 5, dropped to 4.5. It's 4 in some places. It's 4.5. We'll go with 4.5. Yes, Jeff, you have a question.
I'm just going to be consistent. I think if you're on Denver, you get on Indy. And if you're on Cincy, you just stay on Jacksonville. Because I do agree, kind of like to Tim's point about the Denver game. I think everyone's going to be on Indy.
I actually kind of like Jacksonville in this spot.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
No Fournette. They're starting Cody Kessler. That was worth a point between them.
Dude, they lost like their best offensive lineman.
Here's the thing. Ramsey might not play either.
I think this is just bad. I think everything reeks there right now. If Indy was playing a team that I think had like a positive pulse, I'd happily fade the Colts after the emotional fourth quarter comeback at home. But they are walking into a team that, to me, it's the biggest dumpster fire in the league. Expectation to result. It happens every year to a good team, or you could debate if they're good. It happens every year to at least one or two teams. That big hardcore fall. They're it. They might have an inspiring game in December down the stretch where we remember what they were, but it will not be this one.
I'm still going to take Jacksonville. We saw this game 2 weeks ago in Indy, and they lost by a field goal. I think they can keep it close, if nothing else. Indy's defense doesn't really do anything for me. What's the difference between Bortles and Kessler? Kessler may not turn it over as much. That's a positive. That if the defense shows up at all,
Kessler must be horrible that they've had to wait so long to even give him a try.
But they're so
with the Browns
invested.
last year, remember?
What's that?
He was horrible with the Browns last year, remember?
Yeah, but the Browns were horrible last year.
Yes, they were.
Mainly because I'm guessing. Now, is that a Hugh thing or is that a Cody Kessler thing? I guess we don't know. But, I mean, I don't think he's substantially worse than Bortles. And they continue to run Bortles out because they have so much invested in him. You got to start him. And he took you to the AFC Championship game last year. But what is the big difference between Jacksonville this year, Geoff, and Jacksonville last year?
Defense? What?
Who did Tim proclaim to be the worst team in the NFL last year coming into the season?
Jacksonville.
After being on Jacksonville for like 6 years. Then he got back in on Jacksonville this year, and now they're terrible. That's the big difference.
I take no responsibility.
But would what I laid out be true or false?
I think it's incidental. I don't think it has any bearing on how the team played.
They cannot be the benefactors of the reverse curse anymore, so it's tough for them. I do like them to keep this game close, though, even if it's a backdoor cover. They have enough guys that can make a big play or two that maybe they can get to the house. So Jacksonville for me, Jacksonville for the coin, Indy for Geoff. Tim?
Same logic as Cincinnati. I'm just going to hold my nose and take the points in a home dog in a divisional game instead of a conference game. Yeah, I think the Colts might end up winning by 3, but I like that extra point. I think it's enough to entice me to take Jacksonville.
Rams at Detroit. Detroit is a 9.5-point home dog. 55 is the over-under in this game. I'll make this one short and sweet. I'm not trusting the Rams to cover numbers anymore.
I completely agree with you 100%.
They don't cover all that often.
They just don't, especially not big numbers.
Yeah, so give me Detroit plus 9.5. Detroit's really slow. They're very methodical, and they just run the clock out. That the Rams could easily dominate this game the entire way and win by 8. And I think you'll see this number go up. I wouldn't bet it at 9.5. I think it goes to 10.
I agree with you again.
There is backdoor potential here, but the most alarming stat trend I saw this whole week had to do with the Detroit Lions, and I'll focus it in on Matt Stafford because it just shows, Pat, that he can't keep pace. When they play good teams, and by I'm defining good teams as any time they've been an underdog of 6 or more since 2011.
You know, if you email me your notes, I can print them out for you.
An underdog of 6 or more since 2011. They are 2-14 against the spread.
That's not good.
It just shows. And you know, it's like, well, I'm thinking in my head, but then you're like, but what do you mean? They win some games. Then you think about that Patriot game earlier in the year, but I think that was like a 4.5, 5 points.
I thought it was 6.5, but maybe.
Oh, so maybe that's one of the wins. But either way, they can't keep pace. When they play other good teams, they cannot clearly keep pace.
Yeah, but
and
that's
hold
assuming
their
New
own.
England's a good team, which they really aren't.
I don't remember what that line was. But I'm
I'll
just
look it
saying.
up. I think it was 7, but I'll look it up.
No, I think it was like short. I think it was short.
You're right.
I mean, it was one of those like fishy ones. Like, why is it small? Why am I 5.5 points?
And then Tim made the claim that New England's just a bad team. That's why.
So just based on that, I don't know. Off a bye, rested, indoors.
Yeah, I mean, who's betting Detroit in this game? besides me.
Degenerates.
It's an ugly line. Hey, listen, this was a line that was 7 a week ago, and it's just 10, just based on the Rams not playing in Detroit, just being Detroit.
So you're taking the Rams?
I am going to take the Rams. I'm going to just. I worry about the back door, but yeah, just that just shows me they can't. They don't keep pace.
This strikes me as a big, like, Detroit is getting better at stopping the runs as they traded for Snacks. But if the Rams just try to consistently run the ball, that runs the
Talib
clock.
might be back, who isn't like great. I know they do have defensive deficiencies, but Galladay and Riddick are like the two guys you have to stop in the passing game now.
Bruce Ellington. How dare you, sir?
Sorry. So I don't know. I just I don't love the game.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't think I would bet it. I think you are right that you are probably laying a couple extra points now, and I think by the time Sunday, it's a hard 10 for sure. But I don't know.
That closing line was 7 for the Patriots.
Kansas City at Oakland. 15 is the number. I had a friend reach out to me earlier this week. He wants to bet on Oakland plus 15. He was big on it. 55.5 is the game total
I'll
here.
take it.
I'm. It's such a big line.
They are losers on offense. They are losers on defense.
I mean, I bet against them last week as my super lock. It was the move. They eventually just imploded.
Yeah, they'll implode again. Andy Reid had a great comment today.
And it's Andy Reid off a bye too. That's a thing. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it probably is. Andy Reid was asked in his media availability about Gruden and like what's going on Oakland. And he goes, "Oh, you can't question that guy. Like you can't question Gruden and what he's won. He's won a Super Bowl.
Like they're pals though. Didn't they coach
They
together in
must
Green
be.
Bay like 25
Oh yeah, you're
years
right.
ago?
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you can't question him. You can't question him. That leads me to think they're winning this thing by like 21.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs coming off the bye here too, even on the road. Tim.
Yeah, I'm done taking home dogs in that spot. I will be taking the Chiefs too.
Even though they didn't cover this game versus Arizona a couple
No,
weeks
I know, but Arizona
has good players at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, no, and it was weird. The Chiefs were sort of like mucking around.
But I
Chiefs
mean,
are coming off a loss. They are in they're in must-win mode, right? I mean, with the Patriots and the Steelers.
Well, losing it seems like an impossibility. They still play Oakland twice.
that's crazy. So I mean,
Kind
the
of
second time
annoying.
around, a lot of points. The second time around in a division game, like it's a lot of points for a division game. Although I don't think Gruden's gonna be so stunned, like when he watches the film on Kansas City and see how their offense works, be like, "What is this? Like I've never seen anything." I tell you, a lot of grinders out there on this Kansas City team, boy.
Actually, not enough grinders. He'll underestimate.
Maybe that's true. Yeah, you're right. There's not a whole. Who would be a grinder on the Kansas
I
City
think
team? Spencer.
Kelsey, I don't know.
Now Kelsey's not a grinder
You're
at all.
right. I think we can get to these guys. They lack the grit.
Like, the one thing about Arizona that they were able to do, the one thing Arizona is really good at is getting to the passer. They have a really good pass rush. Oakland does not.
Yes, Arizona had an injury because early in the Charger game they were getting to Phillip, and you make one adjustment on them. Once you prevent Arizona from getting the quarterback,
They're done.
You can do whatever you want. Phillip showed that. Where are we?
I guess we'll talk about it when we get no, because I want to weigh down the Sunday night game when we get to it. The Phillip Rivers like completion thing.
It's a little overblown.
It's a bit overblown.
I mean, you tie a record with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, like
And Mariota did
I
the
didn't
exact
even
same thing
I
on
didn't
Monday night.
even notice till halftime.
like it's not that it's impressive, yes. But he ended up throwing for 250 yards? Like that's not
I think like 287. He played 3 quarters.
yeah, but like let's get some yards per attempt going here. Like a lot of the Chargers offense is conducive for him completing a lot of passes. They throw a lot to running. Like Eckler had 10 catches. Yeah. It's not like he's Mahomes chucking it 70 yards downfield every time.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's like honestly, it's
Like, do you worry about a backdoor cover here for Oakland? I don't think they can score the points.
no.
The coin likes Oakland.
As long as
The coin always gets us on these games, by the way.
Here's the thing: if they're down 17 or something, I'm worried they can get into field goal range and kick the field goal.
And they
But if
would kick a
But
field
if they're
goal
down
too.
21,
Well, you
I
shouldn't
have
be down
I have
17.
no. Yes, I agree. That's right. But down 21 or like 22, and they'd have to go for it. I don't have any confidence they'd score the touchdown. Just like they couldn't last week. Just like they couldn't versus the Chargers. They can't. They're horrible.
What are you opening over there, Tim?
No, I just realized now just how prominent that GD calendar is in Geoff's shot, and it really annoys me.
Well, I mean, I personally know the king of pop culture.
Oh, so you crumpled paper? Is that what that was?
No, I sighed.
It sounded like you were crumpling paper, opening up some sort of candy. I mean, it's around the holiday season. I know you really like Werther's Originals.
Or ripping a binger.
I don't know what that means.
Tim hates. He gets so triggered by Doug the Pug. It's amazing. When he came over to visit when he was in studio, I had that waiting for him at my house.
It's just so dumb.
Look how happy he is. Should we read out what it says at the bottom, Geoff?
They say I should cut out junk food next year, but I'm not a quitter.
Life lessons from Doug the Pug. Do you have any life lessons, Tim?
I believe we're going to have a whole segment on that at some point.
I mean, that's for people just asking you questions.
Yeah, well, those would be life lessons that I give.
No, but do you have any like inspirational quotes like Doug has?
Not off the top of my head.
So you can't even give out quotes like Doug the Pug can.
He's a dog. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought it up. It's my own fault. Let's move on.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get you more triggered here because we're talking Jets at Tennessee. Woo! What a game. How much of this are you going to watch? All of it, I bet.
Most of it. I mean, I watched most of that snore fest between the Jets and Patriots where it just confirmed what I already knew, that the Patriots are not that good of a team because it was cheek and jowl with the Jets for 3 quarters. That's all you need to know.
7.5 is the line. 40.5 is the over-under. Guess I'll make this pretty quick. Do we know who's starting for the Jets yet? I think it's going to be McCown, but he popped up on the injury report this week, too, with a back injury. He can't play Sanchez. He's still.
I kind of want to see Davis Webb, to be honest with you. I don't know why
why do you want to see Davis Webb exactly?
Well, because McCown is not going to play after this season. So I'd like to know what we've got in Davis as a backup in case something happens to Sam next year in the stretch drive. That if something happens like what happened to Wentz last year, we have somebody who can take us over the finish line.
The stretch drive is implying that the Jets, when Sam gets hurt next year, they're like 8-4, and they need
8-1,
they need someone to come in there and stabilize it till Sam's healthy for the second after the bye week.
Yes,
that's what
exactly what I'm saying.
Do we even think Sanchez is actually hurt? Because I don't think he is. I think he's just too shitty and they're not playing him.
There's dumb celebrations that they've allowed to happen.
As a just millennial quarterback, you see kind of both sides of it. You see the Sams of the world who just get too triggered and then they don't want to leave their house. Then they're really depressed all the time. They don't want to play football anymore. Then you see Baker, who's sort of like the, trying to be like a YouTube star type of guy. He's like opening gifts on YouTube for cash. He's in your face. That's sort of the millennial that you need to be your quarterback, the outspoken one. Not who, like I mentioned, Geoff, we don't know if Sanchez can talk or not. He might be a mute or just have.
At 4 o'clock.
No, this game is a 4 o'clock game.
Sorry, 3:30.
No, 3:30. It'd be 5:30 for
5:30.
Tim. You're going the other way with it.
Shucks.
So yeah, I don't think he's really hurt. I think this is just them keeping him out of the line of fire so people can. No, but I mean, every game that we progressively watched Sanchez, he got worse. And then everyone just started ragging on him 24/7 because he's no good.
No. This is who's been ragging on him consistently.
This is a way to get him out of the limelight so we can just pretend like he's good because he's not playing. This is clearly what's happening.
Well, you are welcome to that asinine belief if you want it. I can't control what you want to think. And that's all I have to say.
Are you snacking?
No, I was smacking my lips with distaste. It just bothers me when the poor kid is hurt and he doesn't play. He gets it from people who are up on their high horse looking to take a shot at him for no reason other than they're jealous that the Jets have the future superstar quarterback in the league. That's all that this is. It is sour grapes. It's just like Aesop's fable. That's exactly what's going on.
Are you implying that Pat is jealous of you
yes,
having a quarterback?
Than for the Jets to be great and for Sam to be good. It would kill him to have to come in here week after week in a season where the Jets were just, soaring on their way to a playoff or Super Bowl berth.
What would be any different than any other season? Whenever the Jets win a game, you then proclaim that they're the best team in football. So it'd be exactly the same.
No, they've won a couple other games this year, and I have been very circumspect about it.
What about that time that you proclaimed that they were going 16-0 when they won the opening Monday Nighter?
That was obviously an exaggeration.
Really? Yeah, because when we asked you if it was an exaggeration, you were too fired up.
Yes, I was.
And now you're at a point of the season where they just put their left guard on IR today, I saw. And that your quarterback of the future is so bad you can't play him.
No, he's hurt.
He's not hurt.
because
He's definitely not hurt.
Okay, well, he is hurt.
He's
And
not.
you're allowed to
It's a fake injury.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
You can definitely, you definitely can. What do you think the Patriots do all the
Wouldn't be
time?
allowed to get away with it. The league would never let us get away with it. We're not the Patriots, where we can pretend like people have upper body injuries when when their pinky finger hurts, like, and get away with that. We're the Jets. We get no breaks. So
Everyone just conspires against the Jets. Everyone's so afraid of the Jets that
No, I'm not saying they're conspiring. I'm saying we don't get any breaks.
Listen, maybe if there's a safe space on the field, he can eventually return. But this is more of an emotional injury than it is a physical injury.
I'm to the point now where I actually really, really want you to keep pushing this narrative, because next year when he's good, all the people I'm going to get the people on Twitter to run these back, put videos together for me, and I can just
why don't you put them together? You can do that.
I don't know what I'm doing, but people who do know what they're doing will put these together, and I can just tweet video out.
No, those people don't like you. Those people work for Pat to create counts that expose you.
If I ask the people to do it for me, I believe that they will
Yes.
apply.
Question from the audience, sir.
I just want to let him know that's actually against the law unless he gets.
That is true. Paul would like to point out that is against the law unless you get our written permission.
I believe I have the expressed written permission of the show to do so.
As producer, you do not.
Express written consent of Major League Baseball.
You have no consent from the Pat Mayo Experience or Mayo Media Productions to repurpose any of my content. Now, I can repurpose it any way I like. And I think the better one, even whether Sanchez is good or not, is going to be how triggered Tim was when he wasn't well and had to defend him.
I'm still defending him, and thankfully, Geoff's on my side here. And we can put him aside because he's not playing. He's still hurt.
Oh, he might play. There's a chance he plays in this game.
I think,
but he won't because he's faking an injury.
I don't believe that.
Tennessee's pass rush is too good. Can't play him against a good pass rush. Wouldn't be fair.
No, I mean, our offensive line is awful, but that's not the reason he's not playing. I think the Titans will kill us. Nobody would put it short. I think they win by 14.
I'm on Tennessee as well. I had the Jets last week. I had the Jets and the over, and I parlayed them together. And if McCown made actually a decent pass to Curse on 4th and 2 to end that game, Curse just catches that, over hits, Jets cover. We're all in the good. He dropped it.
It's just so frustrating when it's 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 3, and the Jets call a 40-yard pass. McCown threw deep in that game 100 times. He can't throw that pass. They cannot win with him throwing those passes. When they were effective on offense, it was the short little 6, 7, 8-yard passes all over the field to take advantage of the holes in the Patriots' defense in the back end. When you just start bombing it out there, and they weren't even close to hitting receivers, you're just giving away drives. It was so absolutely frustrating. Like, yes, Brady can't throw it deep anymore, but McCown also can't throw it deep anymore. It was sad to watch two old men out there pretending like they were 26 again, trying to chuck it down the field when neither have the capacity to do so. It made it such an unwatchable game.
You know, your defense of Sanchez and Brady being terrible is kind of strange. Brady's not having the best season, but don't pretend like Sanchez has been good.
I didn't even bring him up.
No, but you're just going out of your way to take shots at Brady. Is what you're doing.
I'm not taking a shot. I'm just making a statement of fact.
That he's not good and the Patriots aren't good.
That the Patriots aren't good and he looks like an older. For the last 6 or 7 weeks, he's looked his age. That is pretty hard.
I wouldn't say that he looks 41. I'd say that he looks like 37.
So. He's like halfway between what he was last year and like what Peyton Manning was towards the end. Like by next year, he will not be good.
Jeff, is Tom Brady this year as bad as Peyton Manning was the year that they ended up winning the Super Bowl? It's not even close.
That's insane.
No, I didn't say that either. I said he's like halfway between what he was last season and that. He's like in the middle of that point. So he's like the 16th best quarterback in the NFL.
I'll stand on a hill here by myself and take the Jets.
The Jets?
I got no real reason. Short week though. The Tennessee injury report could be a lot bigger. So yeah, Jets got to get off the mat. They got to play 4 quarters here.
They do. I think Tennessee can run the ball down their throats. Michelle ran all over them last week. If there's a game where like Derrick Henry can get going, this feels like it might be it. Who knows though?
Titan stack.
What would be your?
Is this on the
stack
teaser?
exact?
Is this on the teaser?
No, I'm not teasing against the Jets.
You said they're going to win by 14.
I know. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Okay.
Okay.
because I don't like the Titans, and I could see the Titans screwing everything up by just Mariota playing badly and this team just sleepwalking like they did in that 9-6 game or whatever. So I just don't want any part of the Titans.
Mariota-san has been playing a lot better like the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, he is the Jonnu Smith, who's actually good.
Johnny Smith, who didn't have a catch after 5 minutes in the game.
But he scored a touchdown, and that's all that kind of matters.
I mean, when they needed touchdowns, why didn't they go
Because
back to him?
the Texans took him out of the game. They knew.
Texans knew they took Jonnu out of the game.
They did. They're a crafty bunch.
Yeah, we'll let Corey Davis get us. As long as we
You
keep
shut down
Jonnu
Jonnu
under
Smith.
control.
And they won by 17. It worked out.
You watch out for Jonnu vision, and you're good to go. Minnesota at New England. New England 5-point favorites at home in this game. 48.5 is the over-under. We have that awful Tom Brady, who's washed up, playing quarterback for the Patriots. Patriots, bad team. Can't believe they're getting 5 at home.
That's awful, even awfuler Kirk Cousins, if it's possible.
Kirk Cousins played pretty well Sunday night, pal.
He played all right.
It's some guys.
Played all right.
Did you
What
know
do you want me to say? Like, he won a game that he was favored in. Like, oh, wow, he's certainly worth every penny that they're paying him, that he's taking care of games that he should be taking care of against teams that are under 500. Oh, what an impressive performance.
You sound pretty butthurt by Kirk Cousins.
What about what? He's not going to make the playoffs.
Minnesota's live in the NFC.
Yeah, next week they'll be put away by the Seahawks, and then we can say goodbye to them.
Okay. We'll see about that. Their defense is getting a lot better at the right time. Their defense is rounding back into Minnesota defense form, which we saw. Dalvin Cook's getting healthier. This team is getting healthier.
They do expect Rhodes to play.
Yeah, they do expect Rhodes.
Even though he's not going to practice much, if at all.
Yeah. As long as he's 80%, it's better than throwing the backup in.
I'm excited for this game.
I'm not.
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. It'll captain that 4 o'clock slate. Give me the Patriots because they're just
At home?
At home. They're better. And Kirk Cousins against other elite quarterbacks in big games, just, I don't know, always seems to come up short. That being said, I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots were up like 10 or 11 in this thing.
And then got backdoored. That's what I'm thinking about here.
But it's not enough for making me lean off it.
Do the Patriots have an answer for Adam Thielen?
No, they don't.
I need him in fantasy. So.
I think you're going to get it because I don't see how the Patriots stop him. Diggs?
Well, either receiver.
Maybe Gilmore can shut down Diggs. Maybe.
What about Rudolph for Tim?
Maybe that's Minnesota's problem. Too many Notre Dame players.
Rudolph played great last week.
Yeah, after you jumped off his ship. Now you're probably back on now. He's going to be fucking pathetic.
Yeah, I do like him this week.
So there you go. So don't start Kyle Rudolph. The 1 week Tim said not to start him. He had his best game of the year.
Yeah, he did.
I'm going to take Minnesota for either the win or the backdoor cover here. Minnesota's looked all right here the past few weeks. The Bears game, I mean, when you play against an elite defense, it's going to be tough. The Patriots defense doesn't scare me. The only thing that really scares me is the Patriots are just better at home. But if I think Minnesota's getting better and incrementally getting better every week, they should be able to keep this within 5. Timothy?
Give me the Patriots. I hate this game. I hate these teams. I think they're both way overrated. But the Patriots are so darn good at home. I'll give them that. That they're, it's 18-11 every game. That they take care of business at home, and they're going to once again. Again, listen, Kirk Cousins is not capable of rising to any moment. The Patriots the Patriots have guys like Van Noy who will be able to get in his face, and he was able to do that against the Jets and cause some problems. I just think there will be a bunch of points. There should be a good amount of points scored in this game. I think, yes, Thielen in particular should have a really nice game. I'm less certain that Cook will. I think actually they'll have some trouble running the ball. And in the end, because I think they're going to get down quickly and they have to try to catch up, I'm not going to pick against the Patriots at home laying less than a field goal. So we'll take the Patriots. I don't like it one bit.
The Patriots covered every game at home so far? Did they cover or did they push? Did they cover that Chiefs game or did they push that Chiefs game?
Let us take no, the Chiefs
covered by a half point, I think.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs did cover in that game.
So I think that's the only game that they've lost against the spread. I think they're 7-4 against the spread overall. They've lost like 3 outright on the road. So
yes.
Yeah, that's scary. I'll still take Minnesota. I'm on an island with Minnesota. Weird. San Francisco at Seattle. 10 is the number. 46 is the over-under. I like the under in this game more than I like this game. This just reeks of Seattle running the ball as much as possible.
This is a potential super lock for me, and it's going to be the Seahawks.
Seahawks at home, -10.
At home against a horrible quarterback. Yeah, sort of the recipe for a big one.
Coin like Seattle as well. Timothy?
Seattle, and they're the fourth end of the teaser. We'll tease them down to 3.
Do these teams play again, or does Seattle play Arizona twice?
No, they play twice.
They haven't played yet this year. 10's a lot. Like, is Seattle really blowing people out? Like, you mentioned Denver doesn't blow
But
anyone
has Seattle played a bad team?
No, see, Seattle's been playing a lot of
They
good
seem to
teams.
play a lot of like teams that are at least 500 or better in contention. So I don't know.
And
They could
come
just
up with
run this thing
violent-
down. They could just run this thing down their throat. And then when they're running balanced, and then they're great at converting those third downs when they're not running, let alone when they are going to be able to run the ball. I like Seattle.
This is why that 70-1 looks so good.
I mean, you might as well just cash it right now. Take all the credit you want for it.
It's
For a
it's
losing
not-
bet.
No, I'm not insulting the pick.
You're like
I'm
you're like the people who have golf bets after 2 days and be like, oh, 100-1, let's cash it.
I'm not insulting the pick. I'm insulting it's just your personality doesn't need any credit for it.
For stuff you didn't actually hit.
Yeah, like at least like let them make, because as of today they're not even in the playoffs.
Like we gave you the proper amount of credit at the beginning of the show because you had a really good week.
And I appreciated it.
You have a good week, you get some credit. You don't get credit for, oh, well, I would have played it that way if I was actually playing.
I'm just saying,
that kind of
Seattle,
stuff.
if the season was over right now, Seattle's not even in the playoffs. As much as I would, probably bet on them to find one of those wild card spots, they're not at the moment.
They beat the Cowboys by 11. They beat the Cardinals by 3. Lost
That was
the
a road
Rams.
Cardinal game, right?
Killed the Raiders in London. Beat the Lions by 14. Lost to the Chargers. Lost to the Rams. Win by 3. Win by 3.
Against good teams, though. Who are those wins by 3? Carolina.
I mean, they
road
beat
win?
the Packers at home. The Packers might be terrible.
Those
But they might be.
Okay, fine. But there's no
Tim thinks the Panthers are terrible.
There's no Aaron. I mean, listen. Unless Kittle's going off for 150, and
That's
2,
probably what he needs to do. I think that if you think about the 10 and you think that Seattle, as home favorites, they do love to run the ball when they get ahead, that they just milk the clock down. And did they have these 7-minute drives?
KJ Wright is being one of the best linebackers I've seen. I just don't know where San Francisco does anything.
I'll take San Francisco.
They scored 9 against that horrible Tampa defense.
Came to play. I mean, get your West Coast team going across the
no,
country.
and you're on that. We were both on Tampa, and we had horrible numbers.
It closed at 1.5.
Yeah, we're laying a hook on 3.
Yeah,
It's
didn't matter.
ridiculous. I don't know. Seattle at home against bad quarterbacks. I'm telling you, it's just a recipe for big win.
I'll take
That's
San
sort of
Francisco in the 10. I think this goes up though. Not that it matters.
I want to do a flip flop. Give me the Vikings.
You want the Vikings against the Patriots now?
Yeah.
Why?
I just think they can hold certain serve there.
Okay.
Their defense is healthier, and I just sort of picture the Vikings being able to hold enough serve to cover that sketchy number.
Are you ready for this? Sunday night.
I got nothing to say.
He had nothing to
that
say.
is not true.
Chargers at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 3.5-point favorites at home. Over under 51. Seems like a high over under, I must say. I don't see this game being a shootout, do you?
I think somebody's winning 34-28, but I don't know who.
So it is a shootout in your mind.
I'll say this.
Okay. You don't need to say that again.
But
we
I
keep
don't
telling
think
you
I've said that today, have I?
I
You've
think-
said it like 5 times, Jeff. I just didn't have the heart to say anything.
Shit, because last week I didn't say it at all.
No, last week you said it all the time.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Last week God damn it. I don't know what to make of the game. I really
Pittsburgh's
don't.
played 2 stinkers in a row. Now they're back at home. That can't be fun.
Yeah, it's not good, and it's almost like they tried so hard to lose both games.
They really tried hard to lose last week, and they were successful.
They tried really hard in Jacksonville to lose that game. Even when they made their comeback, Ben was still throwing interceptions that were getting called back.
I'm
The
taking
Chargers defense-
I'm taking Pittsburgh to cover the number.
The Chargers defense doesn't give up a lot of points, though.
But who do they play? Who do they play that
No,
scores lots of points?
I said someone's winning 34-28, so obviously I have some. win or lose, they're giving up more points than they normally
No Melvin Gordon.
give up. See, I don't think that's a big deal. And maybe I'm looking at it. Okay, sorry. It's not a big deal to me if the coach is willing to get freaky. If Lynn wants to just be Lynn, then it's kind of a big deal. Because I remember when, it's like a silly memory, but when Ryan Matthews had to miss a playoff game a few years ago, and we just tried to run up the gut with Woodhead all day, it didn't go well. Now, granted, it's a different coach.
Who won that game?
Was it Peyton Manning?
No, it was against the Jets.
No. We never played you with Ryan Matthews. Get out of my life.
Oh, no, you know what?
We lost enough games with the Jets. I don't need
You know
games.
what?
I don't
I
need games
apologize.
being made up that I lost.
It was the Steelers. After they had beaten the Titans, it was the Steelers.
No, you're wrong again. We beat the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
It was the only McCoy. It was McCoy's rookie year. I thought he was a good coach. We beat the Bengals wild card weekend.
This is Tim just living his truth again instead of
No,
actually
as Geoff
understanding
said,
the truth.
As Geoff said, he's absolutely right.
Now, see, to Tim, fact is feelings.
I'm just
No, Geoff is right.
So I don't know. I don't know if Lynn wants to change his stripes because you look at all these games. Look at what the Chiefs and the Rams did. Good offenses. They didn't even have to run the ball. They just scored a lot. I don't trust Lynn to sort of do that. I will say this though. There's a very high probability, Patrick, especially if you think that the Patriots are going to win this game. The Patriots, the Steelers, that these two teams will play again.
So you don't want to show everything the first time.
So maybe we do come up.
You really think Pittsburgh gets the 4 seed?
Where am I missing the math?
The Texans continuing to win? I think it's most likely that the Chargers would play the Texans in the first round on that early Saturday game.
I do think that'll happen, yes.
Okay. Let's just cut to the
If the
chase.
Chargers win, they're still alive for the division too.
Yeah, but they're going to need if they win this game, they're going to need a two-pronged help, which is
they'll need help from someone,
No, it's one game. They have to beat the Chiefs.
and they need Chiefs to lose again.
They
don't
would need the Chiefs to lose a Week 16 game in Seattle, which to me is the only possible game because the Chiefs play the Raiders twice here down the stretch. So those would be it, and they play Baltimore, who could be fighting for their lives, and maybe if they can.
And
run the ball,
I already mentioned, Baltimore, I think is perfectly designed to beat the Chiefs.
listen,
Uh-huh.
in a blizzard, I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
I just think the style
see.
of football that they play, like I said,
January football too.
Not even
Or you're
that. Just limit the amount of time KC can touch the
Okay,
ball, and
so
don't let them score in 30 seconds.
I don't really know how to break down this game. I don't have the greatest feeling, and also the spread bothers me because Pat, it makes me think that it reminds me of last Sunday night's game.
How so?
In many ways, just it was that 3.5. And I loved the Vikings, and I didn't want to get distracted by the half point. So if I like the Steelers, I don't think you should get distracted by the half point. But I'll talk about what's important to me, because the X's and O's, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win.
49ers, Raiders, Browns, Titans, Seahawks, Raiders, lost to the Broncos, Cardinals. Not a murderer's row. That's a nice win against Seattle at Seattle.
But don't you? I'm not denying that. I made the comparison to us.
No,
and
I'm
the
just
Texans.
I'm just
Don't you
trying to
remember I
run,
made
I'm
that?
just trying to run it through in my mind here. Can they put up the same amount of points here against the Steelers?
Oh, we
In a
will.
spot
We
where-
will score.
I'm not sure.
This team hasn't played a Sunday night game. It feels like for forever.
This
That is a
guy,
big
this
spot.
guy's reading my mail. You guys can break this game down. I'll break my life down. I cannot wait. I haven't played in prime time. I get way more extracurricular into prime time. I'm going to be so lit. No pun intended, because it'll be the first night of Hanukkah on Sunday. So I am fired up. I'm fired up to watch these guys at night. Sunday Night Football. I'm a Collinsworth guy. There's a lot of hate for Collinsworth. I actually love Collinsworth. It's the best crew. It's the best production in football, and I'm excited to be on that show.
Did you have that Hanukkah joke written down?
No,
That wasn't
just came right
Those weren't
to
in your
me.
phone notes.
No, or just trends in my phone notes.
So I'm taking Pittsburgh here, Tim. The coin likes the Chargers, just like Geoff. Who are you taking?
I like the
Taking
Chargers
Pittsburgh.
to win. I like the Chargers to cover. I like the Chargers as the last end of the teaser.
Oh, that's another great teaser team, right?
Oh yeah. Get them to 10.5. I mean,
Okay.
Worst comes to worst, they're not missing the 10.5. Right, that's worst case scenario.
Worst comes to worst, Jeff. Not missing the 10.
I want to make a big money teaser, and I haven't made it yet. And I kind of just feel like I should make it, but I've been hoping maybe I can get the Chargers to 11. Think it goes to 4.
Well, just play a Thursday, Sunday nighter. Put the Saints on it and put the
It's the Saints.
Chargers
It's the
on it.
Saints, Seattle, and the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, how does that lose either? I don't see it. I mean, that's
How?
60% of
How
my
does a
teaser.
teaser lose?
Never happened.
Never.
Tim has a memory like a goldfish. He won teaser last week, so he's never lost one before.
I won 2 last week.
3-10 for the season, sir, on teasers. Can't
Yeah, well-
and each one of them you have proclaimed. How could it lose?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have a bag full of teasers on Sunday. Like any game I'm betting by itself, like Sunday at the 1 and 4 slate, I'll also be betting on a teaser with the Chargers. So I'm gonna go to Sunday night with a bag full of Chargers plus the 10 and a hafer.
So you're
I
not.
like this.
So you're not taking Pittsburgh.
Oh, I would said Pittsburgh because I thought that's what he was saying. I'm
Oh.
not taking Pittsburgh.
So you're taking this. So I'm on an island with the Steelers at home.
That's a good spot for you.
It feels like a good
You can
spot
make a
for
game
me.
on Tim.
I kind of like that.
I'm not super confident. Again, I said the score, but I don't know who's going to win. 34-28. Also, to piggyback on that point about the side, the Steelers, we're not the Steelers. They get like 4 of these a year. We don't get anything.
Well, maybe they're going to be out of their element.
No, I'm worried.
Not ready. They're not
You're
ready.
on your element, Donnie.
The Chargers will just showcase themselves as the not ready for primetime players.
Yeah.
That's why they can win that early game in the playoffs because it'll be at like 4 on a Saturday.
So my concern here, no, it's not my concern, but I know that the game means more to like football Twitter than I think it will to the actual Charger standing. I think like regardless of who we play, high probability we're in that 5 seed.
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, the,
like
the,
90
only, the only thing that can change really is the perception of the Chargers that they lose like 30-3 or something.
No,
which I don't think
But
happens.
I'm just saying, because you look at the Chargers schedule, you know, the whole thing, they lost to the Rams and the Chiefs. Yeah, you got to say that for a while. And then they lost to Denver, which, you know, in hindsight, Denver's starting to play better.
Denver, good division game.
And yeah, like I think anybody that actually like has a pulse and knows what happens in the NFL, just like, I don't know, it was a division game. They got like really stupid. Everyone did dumb things. Phil did dumb things. They lost it. I think it's a game you could sort of surpass. I think this is a big test for them, just like perception-wise, for everybody, because they haven't played someone since week 3.
How healthy is Bosa?
Oh, he's going.
I know he's going, but like how healthy is he?
No, he's good.
100%?
Yeah.
Okay.
He says running fat. Oh, he was on Dan Patrick today. It's quite a bore. Not going to lie. It's not like a great interview. Even Dan, who I think's great, couldn't get much out of him. Oh, no. 2 sacks last week. I know getting through Arizona and Rosen isn't a big deal. But he's running faster than he says he ever has. He is.
Do you think they kept him out to do steroids? Like when they used to inject
No,
Sean Merriman when he
but
wasn't
that,
looking?
to my point also, what I was trying to say with where they are in the big picture standings, the Melvin injury, I'm hoping maybe it's a glass half full look. It's kind of like a blessing in that.
Rest him?
Yeah, maybe just like when it counts, like when the games really count, he'll be, you know, have a month of freshness still in the tank. I hope we abandon where we play with reckless abandon though. I really
So you would like
do.
to see a fake punt?
It's
You've never seen one
impossible.
before.
I
No,
wouldn't
Chargers
even know
wanna
what
do
to
is-
do. I wouldn't even
On
know what
special
to do.
teams, he doesn't want to see the Chargers try anything outside of the box.
Yeah, I was going to
They-
say, if the Chargers try to
they
run a
get the
fake
regular
punt,
stuff
that's
right.
not going to work out well.
No, I want to play
they
this
get the
game
normal stuff
with
right.
reckless abandon, and I want Eckler to catch 12 passes.
He might actually do that. Do you have any hot takes on Justin Jackson?
He seems fine. I don't know. It's a running back. He's a porn star. He's fresh. He's young. He wants to open his legs. He wants to get on, like he's on. Lights are on, bud.
If they get waxed in this game, are you going to go back to... Because you haven't called Anthony Lynn Octavia Spencer in a while. If he blows this game, do you think he can get back into that
The
territory?
basis for me calling him Octavia is based on those situations where there's 3 options. It's the deep field goal, it's go for it, or it's punt. And what bothers me is in a lot of those situations, Pat, it's one thing that we disagree, but it's so demoralizing to me when he picks when they actually do my option 3.
And punt?
Whatever it is. Sometimes I prefer the punt than the 54-yarder.
Just go for it. Quit being cowards.
I want to do that.
Just go for it. Why does everyone have to be such a sissy? Go for it.
I would go for it if I had the Charger special teams.
They have played.
Yeah, like, you're putting the hand in your punter or kicker?
Yeah, if you're
Come
the
on.
Ravens or something, or the Chiefs, I get not going for it. But if you're the
Why would the Chiefs not go for it?
Hold on a second.
The Chiefs average like 7 yards a snap.
No,
Why
what
would
I'm
you
saying
never
is you have
not
a
go
great-
for it?
They give a great special teams.
What were you? But didn't you drop into my DMs just praising my kicker?
Yes, I thought that. I still think Badgley is pretty good, and I trust him to make the big kick when it counts on Sunday night. I think it's going to come down to that, a last second field goal.
Oh.
He knocks it through, and it's all like the Chargers bet. You can see Al Michaels and Collinsworth chatting as the Steelers call a timeout to freeze them. And, they're talking about all the, showing the highlight films of all the missed kicks. And Badgley steps up to the tee and knocks it 300 yards down the middle of the fairway. And, you feel pretty good about it.
You know what's going to happen? The Chargers are going to be down 10, and they'll have the option to either go for it and try to score a touchdown or kick the field goal to get within one score.
And the punt?
And then the Steelers will block the field goal and take it to the house, and the teaser won't cover. Watch for
I'm not
it to
too worried
happen.
about it.
Okay.
This is not the primetime game this year they lose. That's coming.
Last game, Monday night, Washington at Philly. Philly 6-point favorite. Seems high for Philly. 44 is the game total here. There's 3 ways you can break this game down, I think, if you really want the path to the Eagles winning and covering. 1, they have Carson Wentz. The other team has Colt McCoy. That's big advantage for Philly, I feel like. I don't think that's a real hot take. Number 2, the Washington run defense is starting to get lit up a little bit, giving up the 3rd most adjusted line yards for any defensive line in football. So if they've already talked about Doug Peterson running Josh Adams more and more and more between the tackles and committing to that. And if you commit to that against the Redskins, that should prove to be a viable option. You can be able to run the ball on them. That's another way. The 3rd one is Skins can't block. And Philly's had no pass rush all season long. But this is a game where they can get to the quarterback. You get in Colt McCoy's face, not the best decision maker in the world. So there's 3 ways the Philly can do it. So I'll take Philly. You have another one, though.
Number 4 is last week, Tim said they were done. They quit. It is over. They won a game in that playoff race that the Giants were in, according to Tim. So we'll give them more credit for that great comeback last week. Wow, Washington. Washington lost, and now they get to watch Dallas play the best team in football, arguably. Well, they can make it happen on Monday. So give me the Eagles. They haven't won by more than a touchdown
Since they beat the Giants by like 90.
So it's kind of concerning, but I don't want to. I'm stepping away from this.
There's the
Washington
flip
team.
side of it, though, because if the Eagles don't get that pass rush that I talked about, and that's probably probably less than the 50% chance they have it, then Colt McCoy's going to be able to have time and throw the ball around. Like I like Doxson over in this game, yards and catches. Jordan Reed too. And this could be a game that really solidifies Vernon Davis versus Jordan Leggett for the rest of the season.
I got 2 catches at Leggett, and I took a lead in the bet.
Okay, I mean Vernon Davis has games left.
I appreciate that, but so does Leggett.
So who are you taking? You're going to take
Philly's
Washington.
Dead. Philly is dead. I am not going to flip flop off that stance. They are dead. Give me the Skins. Skins plus 220 on the money line looks pretty good, and to cover the 6 is the way I'm playing it.
Eagles have they been the worst team all year against the spread? 3-8.
I feel like somebody else was 2-8-2. I remember looking at our card here.
Packers, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Bengals have been god awful against the spread. I can tell you that.
That they have. The Giants were bad for a while. Then you got back on them. Oakland has been really horrible against them.
Yeah, Oakland's been god. It's funny. I've got a huge lead on you and tied 3 ways. If I just stopped being stubborn and took the Raiders and Giants and Bengals just about every week, I'd be laughing.
I mean, if I had committed to the Saints and Chiefs a bit earlier this year against the spread, I feel like I'd be doing better as well. I just picked against them every week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did not work out for me all that much. So, that's it. Those are all the games. Philly for the 3 of us. Tim, you're on Washington.
Yep.
All right. Not much room in between. We got 16 games, huh?
Yeah, and it's buys are done. It's a full course sprint now to the finish.
All right, so let's recap here. Actually, let's get to Superlocks. Superlock for Geoff. You hit last week. You were 8-4. What is your Superlock this time around?
The Browns.
The Browns +6.
Yep.
Cleveland +6. Tim?
Tampa +3.5.
Tampa Bay +3.5. So we got a home dog. We got a road dog. I'm going to lock in the Saints on Thursday night. I like the
That
Saints.
was the other one I was thinking about. Yeah.
We'll go Saints -7. They cover every game.
Who did Tim pick?
Tampa Bay.
See, I think that's more of like his hate on Carolina. Than
It really
his
is.
like
Well, he
on-
hates Cam so much.
I don't, but like
You
betting
do. You
against
do.
Carolina
Okay.
the last several weeks
do
has
you
been
like?
a very
Do you like
profitable
Cam
bet.
or do you not like Cam?
As a football player, I don't think that he's as good as. Listen, he had an MVP season where he played great, and then he didn't play well in the Super Bowl. And I just don't like some of his antics. But he seems like a really nice person.
No, hates Cam. You hate Cam. You can say it. You hate Cam.
He's sometimes forced to say things because people like show him that Cam like gave away a lot of things on Thanksgiving, and
Yeah, 'cause
and that's a
Cam-
very nice thing for him to have done, and he deserves plaudits for doing so.
But usually it's like
But-
Cam's out here stealing laptops. That's usually Tim.
I don't think I've ever actually on the show made that point.
If people can go find that clip, which I think you've said, I give you permission to find that clip and play it of Tim.
I just say, I don't particularly care for Cam Newton's style of false bravado because I don't think he's genuine. I think it goes back to the day he pretended he didn't know they were going to play Denver in the Super Bowl. I think he can be very disingenuous. He may be a very nice person in personal life, and I think he probably is. But as a football player, I'm not his biggest fan.
Can you recap your free money teaser for us, please?
Yeah, we're going to move the Saints down to a pick. We're going to move the Buccaneers up to 10.5, the Bengals up to 12, and that's the one that's going to get me if anybody does. The Seahawks down to 3, and the Chargers up to 10.5.
See, I don't understand. If you think that if Cincinnati's going to get you at +12, you were super confident in Tennessee. You were super confident like Miami. Why didn't you just put them on instead?
No, I'm not taking Tennessee, and I'm not taking Miami. I have to go through the number for Miami, and I'm just not going to do that.
But you don't even seem confident in Cincinnati,
I think
where
the
you were
Bengals are
super
probably-
confident in those other games.
I have said what I have said. I like it.
I'm just saying it makes no sense.
It's not that it makes sense. I mean, I think the Bengals are going to cover. I think the Bengals could, in fact, even win the game. It's a classic spot, and I do think the 12 points.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to be reserved in any credit you get if the Bengals do win this game because you've just been picking them week in and week out saying they're going to win the game.
Yes, I have been. I mean, I'm on that. This happens to me almost every year where the Bengals are one of those teams I just can't quit.
Like, you would be better off taking the Bengals out of your teaser and just betting Cincinnati money line. And that way they can't affect you if they blow it. And if they win, you would get paid out almost as much as the teaser pays out.
You're making a lot of good points.
You are making a lot of good points, but there's not another team I like enough to put in the teaser.
You love Tennessee.
I'm not.
You do. You went on about how Tennessee is going to run over the Jets.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to cheer against my
And you
team.
also just said Washington's probably going to win outright, and they're 6-point underdogs.
Yeah, I get that too, but getting it to 13 is not getting me through enough key numbers there. If I could get it to 14, I would. But it's about key numbers.
But you
With the Bengals,
you tease the Bengals up to 12.
Yeah, I get to get them through 6, through 7, through 10, and through 10 and a
See,
half.
but
Like, I get to-
sometimes he has no issue like
Yeah, I know.
going through or not being on a key number. He just likes
And
the
also,
game.
as we keep saying, key numbers aren't key numbers anymore.
We're noticing
Well,
that more than ever. Yes.
Yeah.
They matter to me still, even if they shouldn't. I guess. I'm
Even if they
old-fashioned.
don't, they still matter to you.
There's a peace of mind mentally with the key
That's
numbers.
this is
But
precisely
with the
point.
amount of
That
teams
is-
going for 2 and either getting it or not getting it, the amount of extra points that are missed now, the amount of teams that are now going for it on 4th down, it's just not
But
the
like
same.
prime example, that Lions-Rams game, that 9.5. While I'm picking the Lions, that 9.5 is not a number I like a lot. Like 10 would make all the difference in the world to me.
Even though how many games do like I'm a better too. I bet football and I'll like sometimes bet or not bet a game.
Listen, 2.5, 3, and 3.5, I think is like a real thing. I don't think that like 7.5 is that big of a deal. Like 8 is turning into a big key number because
Yeah.
teams will go for 2.
And 6 feels like a number, and 11 all of a sudden feels like a bit more of a number, and 16 like
Yeah.
no. There's some other numbers I try to.
But there are more combinations in play that coaches are now cognizant of that they'll actively try to do to get your team to within 16. You know what I mean? To get your team to within 8 to be down by the score. And they'll do it earlier in the games, not just like Tim, I'm still stunned that you're like okay with teams going for it before like 5 minutes left in a game for 2.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine with me. I mean, everything is time and circumstance dependent, but more often than not, if you have plays that you like, I'm okay going for it because now the extra point's not a gimme anymore the way it used to be.
Yeah,
if it were a gimme, I would probably feel a little different, but now they're not. So
I can see that, but if the extra point isn't a gimme anymore, here's a fun take: if you have a good offense, why would you ever kick an extra point?
Because
let me triple up on your point. The extra point isn't a gimme. You have a good offense, and you have the Chargers' kicking history. Why would you ever?
Just in general, if you're the Chiefs, why are you ever kicking an extra point? If you can
you only have so many plays.
If you can get 3 of 5 2-pointers, you come out ahead.
Yeah, but see, you're thinking about this the wrong way. You're looking through the wrong.
I'm not. I'm saying this is an offense that cannot be stopped. You might miss an extra point, and you get 2 points instead of 1. The Chiefs have more than enough plays.
Not if they score 5, 6 touchdowns a game and are always going for 2. No, you don't have that many plays. You put too many on tape. One part of the reasons the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year is they pulled out on 4th and goal, 4th and inches, basically a 2-point play. The Philly special to Foles. If they were going for it on they would have used it already in the season. Like I get what you're saying from a sort of mathematical.
I do not think that these plays. I don't think unless you're like Gruden, who might only have 10 plays. That like someone like Andy Reid, they're basically just running the same 4 base sets and just running different variations of it.
As you notice, 2-point plays are the most complicated plays that teams run. Like there's
they really shouldn't be. All you really need to do on a 2-point play is go run spread and give it to your running back to run up the middle. Just clear out the box and give it to your running back. That tends to work a lot.
Just saying, that's one of the main reasons teams don't. They don't want to get too many of those plays on film.
You know what you don't do? Run a jumbo package, then run a handoff to your tight end. Smart football right there.
Better the tight end than the running back, but
why would it be better to give it to the tight end than the running back in a running?
The guy who's only 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage and 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like, I get that. If you're going to run
you want to give it to the guy that doesn't run the ball ever between the tackles.
But again, if you look at that play, that is not on the up back. The blocking.
Do you know who it's on? The coach for calling a terrible play.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where the fullback dive isn't a terrible call because it is.
If it's if you're the Saints, then I understand giving it to your fullback because legit no one is expecting that, although they do it all the time. But there's so many different guys that you have to account for in the Saints offense that he might go overlooked, and Drew Brees might see that, go right to it, give it to Zach Line. It was the same for all those years with John Kuhn or Aaron Ripkowski for the Packers that no one expects that guy to get the ball because there's so many weapons that you have to account for. When you're the fucking Titans, no one's really thinking that.
That's fair.
Anyway, spread it out, run the ball up the middle with your running back.
But it's not going to change anytime soon.
Someone will make the leap. The problem is, it goes back to this Ron Rivera thing, is that just because it doesn't work out once doesn't mean you should stop doing it or have that effect. You need to go in with a plan. Either we're a team that goes for it. You can't just... Listen, Tim, you don't change horses midstream. You know that.
No, but listen, it's human nature, right? People get skittish when things don't go their way a couple of times. They back off and get safe. That's just who human beings are. And that's why it's never going to change, I don't think. I think we are destined, as the Joker says in Batman, to play this game forever. That as much as I understand what you're saying, and there's a lot of really smart people who say the same thing, the reason that we are not going to see a consistent of people going for it all the time or frequently on 2 points is that the risk factor is just too high. The coaches are just too risk averse. And it's never, ever going to be, I think, commonplace. Whether we want to or not, I just think that's the world in which we live.
I think that we will get there with the amount of young coaches and the teams willing to take a risk on a young coach over some retread. Like, is Mike McCoy ever going to have a job again?
I actually don't think youth has any factor in this whatsoever. Andy Reid is one of the most interesting.
I feel like Andy Reid, amongst men his age as NFL coaches, a huge
or Bill
outlier.
Belichick for that matter.
As a huge, so yeah, you're pointing to 2 good coaches who people should emulate. Yet everyone else their age doesn't do this stuff.
I mean, you have younger coaches who are really bad at it.
I completely agree. But the more and more young coaches that you get into the game, the more and more that the people are going to see that this stuff actually works, and you need to have a commitment to it. Like the part that makes the least amount of sense to me is if you want to say something like, hey, we should go for 2 every time because you get 6 of 10, you're up. You get 3 of 5, you're up. You get 6 of whatever it is. If you just get it more than half the time, you're going to be up. And you're not even factoring in missing extra points into that. That if you get stopped once, that shouldn't mean anything. You're playing the long game here in terms of percentages.
Yes,
Eventually, someone is going to figure that out. It's like that high school coach that never punts. And it works. He wins like state championships.
And it will never be taken to college and never, like, it violates human nature, right? That type of radicality goes against the fiber of who we are as people because we are naturally risk-averse creatures. And so in the end, I get what you're saying, but even Ron Rivera tried to break the mold, and he's really taken a big step back. I mean, I actually don't think age has any factor in it. I think it's all about risk tolerance, and in the NFL, the risk tolerance is super, super, super low because people lose their jobs very quickly, and you may never get another one. And so, unfortunately, and it may be for the worse, but I don't think there's much of a chance of things changing anytime in the near future.
You'll see someone do it. I'm curious to see. I really wish Sashi was still with the Browns because I'm curious to see who he would have hired as the head coach. Right now, it was like stupid Greg Williams is going to keep the job.
He made so many dumb decisions that he might have made another dumb one. Who knows?
Maybe he's the one who built up this team, gave them all the assets to make all the moves. He did it the right way.
I guess so, but the credit does not really belong to him, I suppose I should say. I mean, the 2 picks they made in the first round this year, they weren't his picks, and they both look like they're going to be really good picks.
Yeah, but he's the one who got them those picks.
Would he have taken Ward? I don't think he would have.
I don't know, but he's the one who got them. He procured that pick for them.
Sure, he can have some credit, but he doesn't get all the credit. Like, I think there's a cult of youth that people think, oh, it's the younger this. It's true in many different facets of life. It's this cult of youth that the young will change everything, and so few things change through. If you look at time and history from a large perspective, youth actually has very little effect on things.
Just disclaim this entire argument made by Tim by he's deathly afraid of Siri and Alexa.
Yes.
Like that has to be an editor's note on your take.
That's fair, but in this case, at least history's with me.
I'm not saying that you just put in, I mean, your whole case on Sam Darnold is that he's so young, the guy can't even vote, but he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. So youth works that way for you, but it doesn't work the other way. The reason that youth can work as an NFL coach right now is because you need someone to go all in on one of these things. I just don't see an old dude doing it. I'd see not every young guy is going to come in and be an NFL coach and have these progressive thoughts of, hey, we're going to use true mathematics for this. We're going to play the percentages and we're going to stick to it. We're going to be immune to the criticism from it if it doesn't work because we need to stick with it if it is going to work. I think that happens more with a 35-year-old coach than a 60-year-old retread coach.
Actually, I think it's exactly the opposite. Someone in their 60s have nothing to lose because they're never getting another NFL coaching job regardless. Someone in 35 is just too much of a careerist to take that risk.
Then why haven't we seen it?
Because it is so... because it goes against your natural tendencies towards safety and not wanting to make a decision that costs the players on the field a win, which is how the coach feels about it when they make the call and it doesn't work, and the heat and the criticism they take. When Del Rio went for 2 a couple of years ago and got it, he got some praise, but we moved on. When it doesn't go that way, you get so much more blowback than when it works, that just the risk-reward factor just isn't there for the coach to make those decisions, because the real people have to deal with the press, have to deal with the owners, have to deal with the criticism, and it's just much easier on them in a job that's so incredibly difficult to begin with. The stress level is so high to augment that stress level by making those types of calls that could cost your team wins. And when you guys are gutting it out all week to try to win and you make a decision that doesn't work, you feel like you lost the game for the team. That's just how those guys feel, and you can see it in their press conferences. So that is why we are not seeing it. But if it were to happen, and I don't think it will, I think it's far, far more likelier to come from a far older coach than ever a younger one who's just too much of a careerist.
When was the last time you've seen an older coach dramatically change the way that he runs his schemes or anything?
I think both Andy Reid is a prime example.
I mean, what's so different between Andy Reid now and what Andy Reid's been doing for the past 15 years? Honestly,
you watch the way he called plays with the Eagles in the early 2000s, the way he calls plays now, it's a completely different game.
I mean, the way that he calls plays this year as opposed to last year is completely different because he's working with different personnel.
Well, even last year was the start of this type of play calling where he actually got Smith to throw it down the field a lot more. And so really it was more like 2 years ago rather than last year that the Chiefs really stuck. Older coaches are, I mean, yes, there's a hidebound factor, but they're the ones with the least to lose, and therefore the ones most likely or the most persuadable to make that change. I believe.
I just don't feel like coaches change all that often. They do what they do. So if someone comes in with a philosophy and this is their philosophy, they will stick to that. And if they can't deal with the blowback, they'll be gone. But someone's going to come in, be able to deal with the blowback properly, calmly explain what he is up to, and then all of a sudden, it'll just become a norm because it will work.
Yeah. Again, I don't think you can calmly explain anything to a media that is looking to take you down. At least be critical. And it's just really hard. I actually don't think you can be calm and logical and reason. Say, hey, listen, I know we lost a game, but 55% of the times it works, so it's a smart call. You will just get pilloried and have to defend yourself too much, I think.
But you also have to engage in doing that, too. You have to engage in defending yourself. You can just make your statement and leave if you want to. Belichick rarely talks.
You're contractually required to be up there and take those questions.
Yes, you're contractually required to go up there and stand there and answer a question. You can answer as short as you want.
And
you don't need to get triggered and go at people.
And I think with almost every team too, like there are like other media obligations. Like remember the Mike Holmgren half hour? Like I think that's like an obligation.
No, you get paid bucks for that.
Yeah.
So all the more reason that you would do it.
Sure, but you don't have to do it.
I just think I understand your point, but I think the people who make it oftentimes dismiss the context around it that make it really impossible. Not that these coaches don't know about it, it's just the risk.
Oh, if you think that coaches are up on like what is a good decision optimally and what is a bad decision, you are hugely misguided.
I think they read the press, and I think they read the
yeah, but the press that they're reading is not the press that you're reading. You understand that? They're reading. Like, do you think this shit is showing up in like the New York Post? No, you're thinking about like analytics guys on Twitter that you follow who are probably good follows and make very smart points. But this is not what the media is covering.
No, but you know what? Those other coaches are seeing Ron Rivera go for 2, and they're seeing Mike Vrabel go for 2. And
yeah, and they did, and they see them get killed because it didn't work.
Which means that they're far less likely to do it, and that
you saying they actually know what's going on in terms of the probability of this stuff. They have no fucking clue. Some of them do. The smart ones do. Do you think Pat Shurmur does? No. Actually, maybe he does.
I think he probably does.
Maybe he actually does because he ended up going for that too. But like, some of them are just out to lunch. Come on, Tim.
McCarthy punting for Seattle.
You think Todd Bowles knows what's up?
I don't wish to treat them so harshly as you do.
Isn't that what we do? We treat harshly.
Yeah, but I think you can be critical but fair and not too harsh.
Like if you're some shit team, why wouldn't you just start doing this? What would be the difference? Like why don't the Jets do it? What do they have to lose? What does Todd Bowles have to lose at this point? Why wouldn't he just start doing it?
That's a very fair point. It's hard to explain what's going on with Todd Bowles. I don't know he's just cashing checks until he gets fired. I don't know.
Maybe he'll remain the coach. He'll be like the new Hugh Jackson.
Maybe so.
I mean, what if the Jets hire Hugh, steal him away from Cincinnati?
Well, I mean, it would be a step up from Bowles.
Whoa, do you really want to play that game?
Todd Bowles gets fired and he'll go to Cleveland and be Bruce Arians' offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator.
Do you think Bruce Arians is the Cleveland coach?
No, he's just vocally begging to get the job.
You even asked him about it on the broadcast he was doing. He's like, well, it's a great city, and nothing's been confirmed or anything. Of course, they haven't been confirmed. He's like, yeah, but I'd really like. Anyway, he wants the job very bad, and the Browns will probably give it to him.
Better than giving it to Greg Williams.
Yeah, who's apparently getting tons of phone calls right now.
Of course he is, and mailed offers to coach teams.
Sure he is.
He sounds like our friend who claims that he wins bets, but you never see them.
Oh, yeah.
You never seen a slip from him, but he wins bets all the time. He bets sports, and he wins.
Yeah, he does.
But there's never any confirmation of this stuff. Anyway, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. You can follow Geoff on Twitter at GFienberg17. You can always follow Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
Not my name.
At Tim Undercust on Twitter.
Not my Twitter account.
If you want to send one of your personal problems or social situations and have Tim respond to them, please email them to dearcusty@gmail.com. When I first put this out, people started tweeting questions at Tim, and then Tim started answering them on Twitter, which really goes against the whole object, the whole purpose of us doing this to get content out of it, Tim just throwing it all away to begin with.
I answered one.
This is why Tim
question.
can't be trusted to manage the content. Things like that. Just
You
giving it
wouldn't even know
away.
how to-
Tim just wants to give it away for free. Not that it's not going to be free, but we need to be able to get some sort of recourse out of it.
And good luck finding that person out there who's going to cut your pro Tim clips.
Fair enough. I've got people who follow me on Twitter who'll be able to do things.
Name one. Are they all your burner accounts? Oh,
No,
earlier today, Trump retweeted a parody burner Mike Pence account. It's like big ups to VP Mike Pence was like the name of the account. It's like better than having crooked Hillary as president. And Trump retweeted it. It's the same thing Cust does to his burner accounts. It's like great pick, boss, and Cust will retweet it.
Yep.
You're a Trumper Cust. Maybe we can start calling you
I'm
that.
not, but I did enjoy 2 weeks ago when two of the Twitter accounts that claimed to be like my hype men tweeted at each other the Spider-Man gif of each other pointing at each other.
I mean, that's tough. That's tough for you because, I mean, I didn't even know you knew how to get pictures onto Twitter. But the fact that you were able to do that between your two burner accounts leads me to believe you might be sandbagging us with this like fake. I don't know how to use Twitter properly.
I do not have any burners.
Out of the 51 Cust burners, how many do you think Cust runs himself? I'm going to put the over under at 22 and a half.
I don't run any of them.
Great pick.
Great pick, boss.
Who else would do this besides you? Honestly.
I agree. Top cat.
5% that show up in a poll no matter what.
Yeah, they're all your burner accounts. You're the only person who votes for you.
Fake news.
You're fake news. Trump or Cust out here propagating fake news. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you want to get into a draw for $20 DK dollars, smash the like. Smash it so hard your screen breaks. Probably don't want to do that. Leave your DK handle in the comment section along with your favorite moment and the show that it was in from the Pat Mayo experience in 2018. We're trying to cobble together a best of the year. This can really go a long way. Or if you're listening to the audio podcast, please leave a review and your Draftkings handle 5 stars, something nice, and you're in a draw for 20 DK bucks. I'll be live on Sunday, 10 a.m. I'll be live on Monday, 10 a.m. So be there. Show's coming out earlier or later this week and earlier next week too. We always have content for you. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck in week 13. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!